Felicitations, my family of fledglings. And Ghost, it's so good to unsee you as well. Welcome to another stream night with yours truly, Damien Holme, disruptor of the status quo and reprogrammer of mindsets trapped in ruts. If you're a part of this community and you've been here for a while and you know what your title is, you're probably this way too. In which case, welcome to those with similar mindsets and ideologies who are striving to de-radicalize and find truth in a world ever plagued by algorithms and echo chambers. We're going to be playing Final Fantasy XIV tonight because tonight my brain is mostly turned off and tired and been all over the place, not least of which over at my friend's house, cat sitting for too long and then running to get Oz snacks for the Oz Snack Goblin stream, which is also happening right this moment. Right here, Streamer of Oz on Twitch. Twitch.tv/Streamer of Oz. Make sure this thing pops up. Right.
The ghost went flaccid.
It's so loud.
I am gonna puke for real.
That's Oz.
You know what?
In all her glory.
I'm just choosing to go piss it off and die. I'm just gonna go die.
Yes. We love the Oz. So go follow her and give her all of your subs and love and glory, please. As for me, if this is your first time catching me, I stream Wednesdays through Saturdays starting 10 p.m. Eastern when I'm on time and 7 p.m. Pacific, usually for about 4 hours. Each night's a different night with something new. Taroa, welcome. Oh no, the visuals still aren't coming through. Okay, how do we fix this? Can we fix this now? Let me see what I can do. The emoji wall that came through, the clip shout out, that's coming through. No sound or video? Awful. Okay, let's see what we can do. Streamer bot audio is desynced. And guess what? It's not because StreamerBot updated. It's just OBS being terrible in 30.2.0. That's what I get for updating to a 0.0 version. That's my fault. My streak is still 2. What? How is that? How is that possible in any way, Twitch? What are you doing, Twitch? Okay, let me pop into studio mode and take a look at the alerts thingy here. Everything is off. If I turn something on, oh, it comes up. That comes up. That comes up. Everybody sees the Troa alert, right? Do we hear it? Do we hear and see it? It looked like that played for me. If it played for you, then we're starting to understand how on earth we fix this. Next we just need to see, is OBS properly connected? It says OBS is not connected in StreamerBot. But when I click over to see connections, I don't even see OBS now. But I think that's where we're stuck. It says disconnected. Let's edit OBS. Version is, port is, reconnect on disconnect. That should all be gravy. So the problem is OBS is not allowing StreamerBot to connect up. How about now? Still nothing. Oh, I deleted it. Not terrific. There it is. Connect, please. Is all I ask. All right. Something weird is happening with StreamerBot not talking to OBS. And we're going to figure out what it is before we move on this evening, because I want this to work for us. Hello, Sam. Hello, Toady. So good to see you guys. How is everything? Any fun plans for the weekend? We're just trying to survive the kiddos. But on weekends, we have both of us, all hands on deck for a majority of the weekend. Okay. Name. Enter any name. Version required. Continue. Host required. Default is localhost. That's fine. Default port, I haven't changed that. That's fine. That should be all right. Configured authentication in OBS for a password. I did not authenticate or create a WebSocket password. They changed the server port. They changed the server port backwards to the 4.9. What was that thing? What used to be 4.9 is 4. That's 5.0. The WebSocket edition. They went back to the 4.9 port on the WebSocket. How dare they? And there's a password. There's also a password there. I didn't ask to place a password. Oh, I did not check that the authentication is required. That might be the kickers. We're just looking in the wrong port. Let's check on that. Turns out that doesn't seem to be what's happening. Because it's not connecting with the new port. Terrible. Awful. Garbage. Auto connect on startup, reconnect on disconnect. I tried all that. Retry interval. That's fine. It's set for 30 seconds. Temporarily override all OBS Studio connections to use the selected connection. Well, I don't have any other connections to OBS, just the one. So that's fine. Nothing here looks like it should be problematic. Although I kind of want to change the port to the 5.0 port again, in case 4444 does something weird it shouldn't do. It will not connect. It doesn't know it. It won't even try it. OBS and StreamerBot no longer talk to one another. It's a sad day in Mudville. Today, I stepped out of my dry season. I considered starting slowly, but I rolled a nat 1 on impulse control again. So it's been many fluids in the face hole. Okay, and by dry and wet, I assume you mean libations of the adult manner. Adult, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Adult persuasion. What kind of fluids? Must be connected with the whole tech outage. You know, there could be something to that. Maybe these two won't connect because of that that whole shebang. Right now I'm going between strawberry wine and a cherry cider. Both sound refreshing and nice. Very nice. Yeah. What's interesting is what things do work insofar as StreamerBot is able to make a lot of things play through. Like it's connected to Twitch chat, but it can't engage OBS scenes currently. That's very interesting. Let me make sure my OBS WebSocket is set to the right. Can we see the default Whoa, something just flashed. Oh, I think my settings were just refreshing on the screen. Stream output. I'm looking for the port that I might be using to connect out. Maybe it's under advanced, because I don't know where else that would be. I just want to make sure it's still set to the default, and I don't see a place to establish a port at all. Not there, and not there, nor in the stream WebSocket. Oh, WebSocket server settings, different place. Enable WebSocket server. Yes. Why wouldn't I? Authentication. Sure. Can I do that? There's a whole other place where I can see. It appears it's currently active. Yes, I want to show this information. Oh, server IP. Is this right? Server password. This is very different. We can try all this stuff. It's trying to guess at a port though that's not the default, but we can give this a shot. I've never seen this internal port before. It's not the typical 127 empty port. Well, that didn't work either. Whatever this is, this certainly wasn't the right connection. Let's change that. Yes to that. Session kick. Let's hit apply. We'll try it this way. Thanks for bearing with me. I really want to make this work. We'll start a new connector. Defaults everywhere. The server port on this one is default too. It says disconnected. Let's try to connect. That connected immediately. Am I using two different WebSocket tools and the other one's just like old? I think the other one was from 4.9 times. That might have been part of my problem. I don't drink too often because my wallet rarely allows me to indulge. At best, I could get something small from the bottle shop on the way home. That's not bad. Sometimes having financial constraints make your vices smaller than they could be. Live stream surgery. It is. I provide libations, you bring snacks. That sounds nice. Okay, so we looked up a variety of fixes, and it looks like things might be connective. Let's check the Troa intro just as a tester. Hang on, let me bust out of studio mode so everything's full screen for me, and I can see my echo of everything nicely. Try it. Come on. Is it gonna go? At this time it didn't even play anything. What the heck? I thought we were for sure. It says connected. It looks good. To just play it. Oh, thank you, Sam, for trying it again. But now it looks like things aren't going through at all. That's strange, because in servers, WebSocket's connective. That's the internal WebSocket server.
You get nothing! You lose! Good day, sir!
That one played the audio, which that's streamer bot only, but it didn't show the visual, which means OBS is not properly working. Stream status, sources. It looks like everything should be fine. I can see OBS. I can see the OBS version. It says auto connect and reconnect are both on. Retry is set. Status is connected. It, for all intents and purposes, it looks like this should be working right. This source is enabled.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Last time I brought my own drinks, I got a 10-pack of vodka cruisers for fairly cheap. It was a good weekend. Fun. Good stuff. Oh, I missed a couple chats up above. That's probably a lot healthier, but bartending for as long as I did, it'll likely be around for me forever. Yeah, that's true. Eating sushi, trying to keep Kitty from stealing my food. Kitties and sushi, man. It's dangerous. It's like playing sushi roulette. You never know if something's going to get snatched out. Also, hello, Lady Nico. Yes, I'm on Windows 10 still. I don't know how to bring back. Wait, what did I do? I didn't mean to pin that. Unpin. I'm ashamed to admit that I thought for years it was for all intensive purposes. Oh, I mean, we've all had some sort of gaffe like that at some point in the past. I'm sure of it. Okay, let's see. OBS source visibility. Set source visibility state. Make sure that we're seeing scene. Doesn't have to be. This can be any scene. All scenes. It shouldn't matter what scene. Source is in audio. Status visible. Wait. Not source. Oh, I don't want source. I want, what do I want? I'm just trying to, a scene? Scene item properties. No, it's not a scene. I thought it was a source. It doesn't seem right. Source visibility state. It seems like StreamerBot and OBS aren't speaking the same language anymore. Like, maybe I can't turn on an individual, thing anymore. What if the scene is in alerts and the source is Troa? Visible. That is literally exactly what's already there. Nothing different there. This should work. This should absolutely work. Bollocks. I don't know. This is going to take a long time and maybe off-stream sort of stuff. Otherwise, we'll never... Just going to be... You're going to be staring at me making furrowing faces the whole night. But, yeah, I swore I was going to get visuals up and running, and then I ended up running so late today that I didn't get time to get on my computer early enough to do QA. My apologies. Oh, even the Nisu isn't playing its visuals. So sad. At least the audio still makes me happy. I usually buy them their own roll of sushi, salmon, and avocado. That's lovely. You saw the news, right? I'm not sure what news I was supposed to have seen. The sentence has the same effect on anxiety as "we need to talk alone." You don't ever say that one. That makes me nervous. Never mind the bullocks. I'm talking about the Windows 10 server issues. Oh, I heard news about a bunch of end machines that were like a bunch of downtime. What were those called? I forget what those are. Basically like third-party outsourced end situations for a variety of companies. CrowdStrike, that's what it was called, right? Pushy, they pushed an update that was faulty and made a whole bunch of Windows machines go blue screen. And for a bunch of people, this is sort of like a stopgap measure for actually paying IT and having a department that does the sort of security and protocols that you need. and so a lot of people suffered for having bad IT practices in their companies. For the Damien smile. I hardly have a smile. Not sure if it's related, but yeah, Windows 10 shat itself globally. Well, yeah, anybody who is on that infrastructure. That's why my boss said he needed my A game on Monday. That could very well be. Could very well be. Luckily, I don't work in that particular capacity. There's a different department that does that kind of work for my company, so I'm off the hook. We're not in scramble mode. All part of Microsoft's shit to push, force, scare people into updating to Windows 10. Do you think it was that? I think it was just a faulty update. Somebody said, yes, this is live capable, and then they found out they were very, very wrong. Well, yeah, unfortunately, like I'm staring at a streamer bot that looks like it is absolutely running perfectly. Maybe here's the last thing I can think of doing before we just do like a complete deep dive that would take too long, and I really don't want to go that far down the rabbit hole while we're live. But I will if you guys ever want to hang out with me for that kind of thing. Be happy to. Forgot to put up my subtitles as well. Let's try bringing the bot back fresh. That's the only thing I can think of that we haven't done yet. And just see how it do. Fresh connector. Full cylinders. I love the way it looks visually, but I don't want to be forced to log into a Microsoft account to access the internet. Super don't blame you. You don't have to. I don't. My machine's not on Windows 11, but Oz's is. I have a profile on her machine for reasons, and I can access internet, and I do not have a Microsoft account logged in. There are some times when I sign in or try to save a credential to a website, and it will pop up with a window that says we need to verify it's you. I just dismiss that window. It comes up twice in a row every time. I dismiss it twice, and it lets me go on not signed in. I won't be fixing those issues. I'll be talking to the business owners dealing with it, trying to find workarounds. That's my kind of philosophy. We're definitely of a tribe. Have you considered Mac? Ugh. Mac problems are far harder to troubleshoot when they come up, and usually involve spending money. I've been against Windows 11's shiesty shit since I heard. I'll avoid upgrading as long as I can. Understandable. Mine's 11 and I'm not logged in either. Used to work for Apple. Yeah. I know there's workarounds for it. I think Onyx was talking about it. Mac problems are rare, but tricky as fuck. That's why they were more fun. Fun's an interesting way to put it. All right, let's see if we can get anything to work. Damn. Just the text again. I wonder what it is. As a career, it was more interesting to me. You know, if I had to work for Microsoft or Apple, I think I would work for Apple. For sure. All right. Well, 2 nights in a row, no visuals. I don't know if I'll be able to get in tonight. Hello. Welcome, Dr. Slimes. How's it going? Yeah, if I can't get the visuals to pop up tonight, then I might try to troubleshoot it tomorrow. I don't know when I'm gonna have time. That's the biggest hurdle, is finding the time to actually make it happen. The biggest issue is I can look at all of my commands and they all look like they should work. So why my bot is just refusing this new version of OBS, I'm almost tempted to go backwards a version on OBS and just pretend that 30.2.0 doesn't exist until there's a 0.1 after that. Going good. What about you? So my bot's taking a dump on the stream. It usually manages all of our visuals, and right now there's no visuals to be had, so it's playing sounds, it's putting text in the chat, but it usually does, like, you know, fun like GIFs and videos and stuff like that on triggers and commands and channel point redemptions. It's just not doing any of that. I'm kind of bummed, but I'm not going to sit here and like try to troubleshoot an entire bot and broadcasting software mount functionality. I'm 90% sure it's the broadcasting software. I use OBS, and it recently updated to a 0.0 version, and I think that's where things went awry, because before that everything was working fine. No bigs, my friend. Thanks. Thank you for being understanding. All right, so we were on our way to unlocking the Omicron robot dudes, and then I took a sabbatical from Final Fantasy for a little while, but I want to get back to that. We want to get the all the Endwalker beast tribes sorted out so we can catch up our crafters and gatherers up to the new expansion. Be ready for that. It's a wonder any tech actually works the way it's all hacked together. I mean, the sad part is I've gone through this headache so many times over the course of many different platforms over the course of my life. And I just keep doing it. I never stop. I'm the sort of person that wants to solve problems when they arise. I get really stubborn about it, and I don't want to let it go. I've learned so much about the naughtiness of your kind. It's clear to me that a weakness of spirit is what drives people to do bad things. But not me, not a chance. I'm going to accomplish great things, fair and square. As sure as my name's, never mind. Yeah, cheating way. We'll see if this guy's actually capable of being beaten. Care to engage me in a spot of triple triad? I'm quite good, you know. We'll see about that. Rules are sudden death, same, swap, and plus. Okay, let's see how we do. Let's try my third deck here. Code of La Spaghetti. Wait, what? That's one of the stronger arguments for Macs. They're built from the ground up to function well with most anything. The problem with them is whether other software is made to be compatible. And that's kind of the big issue, is like there are big gaps in what Apple does. I mean, this the same problem with Linux, although Linux has such a rigorous community of people that contribute to filling in the gaps, whereas Apple sort of like closes their doors on open source helping out to make Mac more versatile. So say there was like a broadcasting software that needed to have compatibility done, you know, Apple would hem and haw and take a long time to grant license for APIs and all that sort of thing, whereas Linux users would probably make... Oh, I'm on a timer, hang on, let's figure out just what the hell I'm gonna play here. Linux users would probably make something like OBS work first. Poop. And then come back and make it official later on. I'm going to lose to this guy. He's got a lot of good cards and I do not. Just made the entire board red. Terrible. Yeah, I want a rematch. Likos, hi and welcome. You're here so early. How did that happen? Oh, spaghetti code. Their vaults are as bad as Disney. 1 gajillion%. Counter argument against Mac is Apple specifically goes out of their way to make developing for Mac the biggest pain in the ass as it possibly can be. That's also true for repairs too. So I have friends who were in the repair space working in, you know, the clean rooms for Apple retail stores, and the same measure happens there. Once you crack open especially their mobile devices, you see just how terrible they are at being worked upon. Like, you really can't get the same sort of tech that might be licensed to work on like Android devices to just convert over and learn Apple. They're deliberate about the maneuvers that they do to make things hard to work on and very proprietary. And they also rely on a lot of proprietary parts to fill in the gaps between the stuff that they, you know, the tech that they use. But especially software wise, Apple just does not play nice. Setting up virtual environments has saved me so many times. It's amazing. You install one thing and everything breaks sometimes. Yeah. So, and as far as virtual environments go, I'm usually pretty good with that sort of stuff. You know, we have a server machine that does a lot of infrastructure lifting for our household, and that machine's working fine. It's great. I'm actually using it right now while I stream to do some other additional monitoring on my side of things. And we also run a Minecraft and an Enshrouded server off of that machine as well. And that's all based on Linux, and it works great. I don't argue with that whatsoever. Versatility and accessibility is Mac's Achilles heel. Yeah, but they do a really good job at selling the Kool-Aid, so they get people very cultish about their products. And as long as you feel like you're in the right cult, the best cult, then they've got you. And they do try to make their products look and feel luxury. And as long as it feels luxury, they will probably never move to any other product because they feel like their money, the incredible, ridiculous upcharge for the components that they have in their machines. If you feel like you're doing so because you're getting a luxury product, then you'll continue to fork over that much money, even though on a component by component basis, Apple doesn't make sense as far as what they charge. Not one bit. Their customer service fees, yeah, there's that too. I'm Apple certified, so I can do physical repairs. It's not an easy certification to get. No, I don't believe it would be. I also have to log and report on any encounter with tech, even free ones. Wow. That's just to keep your licensure. Kind of like how Google specifically built the Pixel Watch to be literally unfixable if you crack the screen. That's true for a lot of watches too. Apple has the same thing with the Apple Watch. They won't put that into the clean room. They will send it out and it'll go, you know, to distro. They'll probably just issue you a new Apple Watch. Developing for the Vision Pro is a pain as well. Their simulator just doesn't work the way it should, and without being able to share the headset around easily, having a group develop for it means you're locked to just one person being able to actually test it without a lot of workarounds. That just sounds frustrating. It really, I think it would give people pause to even want to embark on that then. Yeah, big time tribalism. I'm a Mac user at heart, have been since System 7. BSD underneath OS 10 is fantastic, but have to use Windows because streaming, yuck. I wish I had that kind of money. I never came from a background where I could look at a Mac or an iPhone and say, I'm able to afford that kind of premium. For a third of the price, I was willing to deal with some of the jankiness and problems that Windows and Android machines had. And as far as performance went, you know, I had a lot of friends who used Apple products side by side. It seems like we were, you know, going toe to toe as far as frames per second, or like with the phones, like, you know, usage for even some of the more intensive apps as far as resource use. Not that phone apps really chug on your, I mean, unless you're like playing MMOs on your phone and that sort of thing. Most people don't really use their phones to their full capacity, which, you know, is actually a feather in the cap for Android, because they usually put out phones with lower specs, or at least keep around lower spec phones longer than Apple does. And your average phone user is not really going to be using like crazy AI chipsets and trying to like film videos and do high-end photo editing just on their phone, right? If Apple is the brand for creatives, they're still not going to sit on a smartphone to do their work. Grapple is double. Well, where did that go? Grapple is double for the same shit and something half the price. Yeah, on a component by component basis. If you're just talking about like, you know, gigahertz on a processor, or like how much RAM or how much storage, Apple will always overcharge for the same components that it has, with the concept that the synergy that they do everything in-house, which is not everything in-house, right? You know, they do have third-party components within their products as well. But as much as they can in-house, they believe that that's enough of an advantage to make it worthwhile. But I just don't see the people that foist up that kind of money who can. I mean, if you can and you just don't care, fucking go for it. If you can afford it and you don't bat an eyelash, amazing. I've never been in that position, so I always like, you know, count my dollars when I have to do an upgrade for my projects. And everything that I've ever bought, I've felt like I've matched the spec of what it is I'm supposed to be doing with my machine, and that if I did go the Apple or Mac route, that I would be paying way more to get what I need to get done, and or I'd have a lot more computer or a lot more phone than I would ever use. And a lot of people don't think about that. You know, they overkill. They get a phone that can do crazy shit that they will never do, because all they're doing is like doom scrolling or like cat video watching. Yeah. Where are we? I do hate iOS though. Like iPad OS is okay, but phones are the one thing I can't understand about iOS on phones is why they refuse to do split screen. That part just completely baffles me. Android has had split screen on even on third-party devices like Samsung for ages, and Apple will do split screen on iPads, but they refuse to do it on phones. I can't understand that. And I asked Apple users about it, like, well, you know, wouldn't you want to do split screening on your iPhone if you could? And they all say the same tribal answer, like, oh, I don't use it, so I don't miss it. If I don't use it, then I don't miss it, right? It's like, well, you know, you don't even know if you would use it or not, because you've never had the option. No one's given you the option from that company yet. Because it would have been my group's first delve into Apple mobile hardware, our dev kit requests got denied over and over, despite my boss literally coming to us from being a dev at Apple for his previous job. What is their mentality behind that? Why would they keep denying? I wonder. Did you ever get any answer? Any messaging behind that decision? I have one Windows 7 laptop and this gaming PC. The rest are Apple devices, and I didn't pay for one. Hey, if you don't have to pay for them, go Apple. Yeah, if they come free, or if they're, you know, company provided devices, hell, do it. I've worked for companies in the past where I've been able to use Apple devices. I don't have any complaints using them as work devices, especially if I don't have to pay. You know what I mean? I mean, Google has no repair center, and if you crack the screen, Google tells you have to buy a completely new watch. Puck. Oh, gotcha. I mean, it's essentially sort of the same thing with Apple. When you send it into the repair center, they say they can't do anything. So they do have repair centers. They just refuse to do anything on watches in those repair centers. While I work for them, I'm eligible to win contests based off of performance. I've been with them over a decade, so I've won all kinds of stuff just doing my job well. Wow, tell me where you work. I'm going to win some contests. Not that I do my job well. Just kidding. I've only ever bought 4 Macs in my life. I can't afford that shiz. I just hugely prefer the OS. I like Mac OS. I've got no complaints about, especially the desktop experience. I've never afforded one ever. I used to know a guy in IE who worked for them, he had the same kind of thing. The work perks with them seem really nice comparatively. Apple is an amazing place to work for. I imagine they seem just like very, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. Considerate. They seem considerate. They seem like they care. They seem like they love big and are passionate if you work for them. Yeah. They baby the hell out of you for sure. They care for their care for their employees is kind of insane. I appreciate that. They kept saying our group didn't have enough experience with Apple development in the past to prove our work would be sufficiently high enough quality for their flagship mobile platform. Wow. It sounds a little bit elitist. I mean, I hear some preservational talk in there, but it also sounds like step up or step off sort of talk. They're so absurd with their branding, it's insane. Their legal team is an army. Their legal team has done some crazy things. So I work in legal, and I've definitely seen Apple launching a whole slew of different intellectual property cases, trying to win out over smaller creators and challenging bigger ones by doing patent trolling. Does anybody know what that is? Basically, they buy out concepts and they write up schematics for ideas that they either intend to use one day, or maybe they don't. They just sit on the idea in the hopes that somebody else will try it because they didn't have proper patent search before they embarked on the idea. And then Samsung comes along and has this great idea for new tech. And Apple goes, we patented that. We haven't done it yet, but we own the patent, and it's basically this. And then judges have to sit there and listen to all this tech talk and figure out, is Samsung really doing exactly what Apple patented, or are they doing something adjacent but novel and it's dismissible? And it just becomes a big hassle and a problem. Both companies end up paying a ton of money in legal defense to make something happen. And sometimes if one company does have the right of way, they still won't push all the way forward. They'll push for a settlement. So the two companies then end in some non-disclosed monetary exchange, and we never know what actually happened with the underlying technology. That's happened a lot, especially between Apple and Samsung. They're so overprotective to an extreme. Oh yeah. .ie is Ireland. Oh, gotcha. Is that like the website extension, or what's the word I'm looking for? Suffix for their websites? They got 5 million. Akumu, hi and welcome. Sorry, the audio plays, the video still is broken today. We tried to fix it a little bit on stream, but we're wasting so much time just doing that. So nothing worked. Wait, you didn't even hear the audio? Let me check on that. The audio should have played for you. Damn, it's broken again? Terrible. Try that again. How about now? I know. OBS is like dropping the ball in myriad ways tonight. Just an awful stream. I really do want to go back to the 29 or 30.1 point whatever days. I may just, if I can't fix this in reasonable amount of time in the next week or so. Yeah. So they have 5 million fart apps on the iPhone though, so I really don't know what sort of brand name they're looking for. Yeah, who allowed all of those? Also, wasn't there, like, once upon a time, I think everybody kind of remembers this because this wasn't too far back, there was this huge iCloud leak where people's iCloud photo library was being leaked out, and for a number of celebrities this ended up being like a really catastrophic situation. And some people implicated, but of course Apple tried to cover this up, that it was like apps from their app store that asked for ridiculous permissions, but they were really subtle about the way they asked, or they were able to sneak it in kind of. So you download what you thought was like a really cool flashlight app, like maybe it would do strobe lighting for you or something stupid and absolutely absurd, and you downloaded it, and when it installed, it would say, hey, this little flashlight app needs access to your photos. I hope that's okay. And you just hit accept and download and get that app going, and then you don't even realize you're compromising your own information. That, or, you know, another company like Target ends up having a database leak, and your Target.com profile's password ends up going to some hackers. And so they try your Target.com password at Wells Fargo and Chase and iCloud, and they find a whole slew of people who use the same password across multiple accounts. Tell me you all in chat are not guilty of this, right? You use bespoke passwords for every single company, right? Like good citizens, right? And so people get leaks that way as well. Let's catch up back here. My tech brain engaged because computer talk. I reverted to TLDS. No problem. OBS doesn't hate you, it hates me. It's breaking for me. You're fine. Apple has tons of malicious apps on their app store. Absolute tons. Hundreds every week are removed because they have such lax checks to publish something on their app store. Yet my group got denied because we're not good enough. Probably because you were doing something that was so flagship. They actually have a dedicated police team for that. But for some reason, their app store is just like wide open. The more I deal with Apple, the more beef I get with them. I hear that 100%. I don't deal with them regularly, but yeah, I've had my issues in the past. Not least of which just with how cultish they can be. Mate, if the dark web wants to see screenshots of recipes or other random crap like that, they're welcome to them. I've always said that I would be the worst person to enter celebrity or fame if such titles were foisted upon me. If people want to get into my libraries and see all of my juicy good stuff, it's really like a bunch of garbage memes. My sense of humor is awful. I download and screenshot a bunch of things that just don't make any sense, and they were either funny or topical in a conversation and now have no use. I don't do proper file management. Everything's awful. I don't take weird pictures because I don't care. I'd rather have real life experiences than pixelated stuff on my phone anyway. And I don't visit illicit websites either. You know, I already know that doing so would compromise one or more devices. So, and I don't have an interest to. I'm not built that way to want to go see what that .ru website has to offer. I would rather somebody else go be curious and then tell me what happened rather than me put any of our technology at risk. I'm the least rock star-inest internet user, and all of my data is... I actually have probably more spreadsheets than any other file type in my storage, just because I try to categorize and visualize information in so many different ways so I can get a grasp on my life better, because there's once upon a time where I kind of did everything just laissez-faire. I left things in piles all over the house, and I used like scrap paper and sticky notes were sort of like my go-to methodology. And I ended up screwing up everything all the time. I'd miss like doctor's appointments. I'd double book for friends. I was just an awful person who forgot and left behind so many good opportunities because I was so bad at life. And so now if you go through my tech, it's really just the other part of my brain that doesn't exist in my head. It's boring. Or cat photos. Yeah, there you go. I feel sorry for anyone who has to view my compromising photos. The viewing is punishment enough for the would-be hacker. Oh my. Oh my. Videos of me complaining about my AC. Yeah, definitely. I hated Apple. I was huge on building a computer yourself to fit your needs and not have it wasted hardware. I do like making computers from scratch too. It always makes me a little bit nervous seeding a CPU and applying like the coolant or the goo and all that kind of stuff. But I do enjoy building stuff up from the ground up, and I feel like it's always cheaper to do it that way too, right? Funny story, my supervisor at Microsoft went to them and he gave my name to the recruiter. Oh my. Now, how far are you and Oz from starting Dawntrail? Thermal paste. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. So Akuma, while I don't know, I haven't looked up any spoilers for how much MSQ we have left. I can show you basically where we are, which is in Charlian. We just finished. This is I did mark my stream as no Dawntrail spoilers, but I didn't say no Endwalker spoilers. So Endwalker spoiler incoming if you haven't gone through this and you don't want this part of the story spoiled to you. I'm here with the whole crowd just outside of the round, whatever this place is called, the Rostra, and we're about to weigh in with the twins' father as far as all the things that we just did. We defeated crap. What is the thing's name? Basically the dragon sister turned void sent, defeated her in combat, rebirthed her out of new ether, and now she's like a little baby. And once we wrapped up that whole chapter, it looks like Zero is going to stay and try to help with Golbez to sort of rebuild and find opportunities to save the 13th. And we came back to Charlian to say, hey, this is everything we did. What's next? Which kind of sounds like we're close, but I don't know. You can decide, but don't tell me how close or far we are. Know what I mean? My downloads right now is a bunch of AI memes, other goofy memes, school PowerPoints, Oblivion mods to try to make the game more stable, and academic publications for research for work and school. That might be interesting, but generally not probably what hackers are looking to try to get from you, right? We used to get the occasional customer at Walmart who'd ask if we sold thermal paste. We didn't. Other employees would always bring them to me because I was the only one that knew what it was. I don't know what this guy's talking about. It might be with the Elmer's glue. Gorilla glue, something, I don't know. Taylor probably knows. Kind of surprised people go to Walmart for PC stuff. That seems sketch, right? But some people will really cut corners wherever they can. I knew a guy who used to always buy refurbished stuff from Fry's at the like basement price, and his success rate was pretty poor. I think he ended up wasting more money trying that tactic than he ever would have saved by going that route. You know, you have to do an analysis on that. Just how much money does it cost to buy refurbished, and how much would it cost to have to replace it over and over again because it's not working right? Yeah. I know where you are. Okay, cool. They went through a phase of selling game PCs. Oh, okay. Gaming PCs. Nobody ever bought them though because they were way more spendy than the regular Walmart customer wanted to spend. Gotcha. Come on, cheating way. I'm gonna win this time. I don't do refurbished anymore, even 9 times out of 10 if it works. Their life is always degraded, and even if the 1 out of 10 doesn't work, you spent more money already. And time. Like for me, time is such a heavy component to my calculations. I just can't live a life that revolves around going back and forth to stores. It's an awful experience. We don't have that kind of time. We don't have those kind of resources. Time is money, friend. A wise scholar once said. Son of a bitch, I got no recourse for you, do I? I can't flip that either. I'm going to lose again. I just don't have the cards to compete against this guy. We might have to. I'll try one more time. I'll have to come back after grinding some more later game cards than the ones that we have. Damien, you have a fabulous community. I agree. I love you guys. I think this community has shaken the dust off of what streaming communities can be on Twitch. Not just because you're nerds. It's so much more than that, to be perfectly honest. It is about the concept that you're also willing to put yourselves forward in a way. God, this guy's just gonna own me like every freaking time. Put yourselves forward in a way that you can challenge each other's ideas and hear dissenting viewpoints, and none of you are rude or ad hominem about it. That, I think, is the most fantastic part. I see other communities, especially when it comes to communities where there's like big brain, thinky, philosophical or political sort of people on camera as the talent, and their communities are just toxic. They're rude. They're very much about like judging people for things that are not brain related. So for being like fandom to a big brain streamer, then they say shit like, oh, look at what this guy's wearing, or yeah, well, look at his chin, you know what this kind of chin means. And it's like, what are you talking about? How could you possibly stoop down to referring to people's physical appearance or choices in apparel or however they decide to present themselves as indicative of whether their ideas are worthy or not? Like, oh, you got that idea from Wikipedia. Well, all right, maybe I did, but maybe the Wikipedia article was well sourced and it was a good idea. Even that kind of stuff just kind of screams elitism and ad hominem instead of it just feels like an escapist way to refuse to deal with the arguments and ideas and positions being presented because you're too afraid to only address the ideas. And this community is so much stronger and smarter than that, and so much more polite. I don't feel like we would ever get ourselves involved even in a debate or a connection with any other streamer who might have a different opinion than ours and come at them in a way that screams rudeness or a lack of civility or a refusal to connect to ideology and the philosophy about what's being discussed. Just to focus on the physical. About the only refurbished I'd trust is Steam Decks, because you can replace every individual component with how easy the repair is. Oh, cool. I have not done any research on Steam Decks, but that's really nice to hear. That's inspiring to hear. That's very good on them. I don't know about everyone else here, but I'm just a monkey slapping a keyboard and hoping things work out. Hey, some days that's the most I can ask of you guys. And sometimes that's the best I can offer you too. So give me patience, because some days I get on camera and that's all I can provide for you. Oh, right. I remember why we stopped doing this thing here. We are in the middle of unlocking we're in the middle of unlocking some Fisher abilities. I'm trying to remember just exactly where that is that we were for that. Let's switch to Fisher and see, because that's where we got stuck. Our fishing quest was, I think we turned it in and then we didn't pick up the next one. I really need to not do that, because that can put me at a severe disadvantage for how sometimes a long break it can be before I get back into the game. I can lose complete sight of where it is that I'm supposed to be again. I'm going to be hurt so bad right now. What did you do, Akumu? You know you're not supposed to die on my stream. That twirly eye sculpture is fantastic. I agree. Ah. Steam has full published step-by-step walkthroughs to replace literally every single component, sell each and every component individually, partnered with iFixit to do kits for those who don't have the tools or know how to do stuff, have full published teardowns and guide videos, and their support will walk you through if you're still confused, on top of all their normal warranty repair services. How lovely. That is how it needs to be done. That is really, really nice. Uh-oh. I thought this was where my next quest step was, but maybe I'm wrong. It wasn't from you guys, was it? What is this? That is not it. Maybe it was these guys. Anselme. I did pick up the next quest. I just need to find the fish icon in my quest journal. Maybe I didn't. Unless it's one of these. This is the one. Ishgard. Oh, okay. See? Take too long of a break from the game, you forget where the heck you're supposed to go. I'm not dying, but I will not say why. Please DM me code words if you need to. Alright, let's go this way. Drain the Gelfling's essence in Skeksis. If I recall correctly, the refurbished also have a no questions asked 2-year repair warranty for anything and everything. Amazing. That's good. That's good customer service, honestly. Good for them. I super appreciate that. You know, I've never seen that movie, just not my vibe. So no attachment there for me. I really like shiny things. You would make a good goblin. Oz is always trying to produce a larger and larger goblin army. So, you know. I will say that my little did better using the big girl potty today. Only 3 accidents. Oof. 3? 3 is still a lot, but that's good. That's better. Our little has been accident free for a long time now, and the tiny has been accident free for about a week. The last couple accidents that she did seemed to be weird, like extenuating circumstances. It wasn't just like she just stopped, stared at us, and peed, which happened once while we were doing the potty training boot camp. And I was like, "What are you doing? Look, you are peeing right now." And she's like, "What?" I'm like, "Look, it's coming out of you right now." And she's like, "What?" But like we were at this like shopping center, and this boy was running around some hedges, and she's like, "I want to run around with that boy with around the hedges." And I was like, "Yeah, okay, probably not, but I guess go ahead. It's not going to hurt anything. It's just like bad form." So we let her go run off. She takes 3 steps to go join the boy and falls like flat on her face, and she starts sobbing, like screaming, like she really hurt herself. We looked, no broken skin, no blood or anything like that. I think she just hurt her pride. But as soon as she started screaming, she angry peed all over the concrete. I'm like, oh. And that's kind of like, I don't know if I call that an accident. It's not like she knew she had to pee and she just didn't make it to the bathroom on time. She didn't listen to her body. She had an experience. I know some adults that if they got as angry as she looked right then, they might pee themselves too. To be honest. Yeah. It's old magic. Crows know better. Crows do know. Can't give code words? Oh, okay. My little has been going a lot over the course of a day, but I don't think she fully empties her bladder when I do have her sitting on the potty. Interesting. I read somewhere too that if you do too much interjecting, like we say, okay, well, it's been like, you know, X amount of time. Let's go together. Let's go try. That they sort of don't really get to the point where they feel the sensation of I've got to go. Which is really frustrating because it means you probably have to hit a level of like more accidents to let them feel the sensation of like I'm really full bladder, as opposed to keeping on them over and over again. Like, let's try. It's been long enough. I think you have to go again. Let's try. Then they don't get the sensation of when to listen to their own bodies. And we started to do that a little bit more. And yeah, it's frustrating, but it seemed to work for us anyway. Kids are wild. I disrecommend. I love mine, but I disrecommend in general. Unless you have like some sort of weird innate biological calling and it's been that way for a long ass time. Like for me, I legit wanted to be a dad since I was 16. Not when I was 16. Like as a 16-year-old, I didn't think I'm going to go get my high school girlfriend pregnant. I just thought one day I really want to be a dad. I had that biological drive in me. But if you don't really feel as strongly and for as long as I did, and you're sort of on the fence about it, I'd say stay off the fence as long as you can. Really. And I hate how many men, how many fathers on the internet make fatherhood out to be something different on an internal basis. Externally, they might make jokes about how their kids are a little shit, or like how hard it is to do parenting and cleaning up after them, like all the things required of parents. Of course, you hear a lot more about that from moms, even in 2024 online, but you're starting to hear more dad space about it. But when they talk about how they internally, their emotions about the situation, every father I've ever met online talks, or not met, but like consumed their content creation online. They talk so much about how transformative the love and warmth and gooiness inside of them is because of, you know, having created new life, and how they have this eternal bond of like a powerful emotion that they could never describe, and you'll never know until you do it too. Bullshit. There are times when I like my kids, you know, a lot, and even love, but it wasn't transformative. It doesn't have to be. And you're not a bad person if it's not transformative. You're not a bad person if you don't even feel like you want to go through with that because you can't imagine having those emotions. You probably won't. I thought maybe it would be transformative. It turns out it was really nice and stronger emotions than I expected, but not like what they say online. And not just as often, but at least earlier on, I felt a lot of negative emotions. I felt like maybe we made a bad choice. Maybe I'm going to regret or resent some of the, the changes and things we're going to have to give up in the future. And I really didn't like cleave to them strongly like everybody said I would. And I wish there were more voices like mine on the internet, because I felt very othered by when I went and tried to look to see if there were other men that felt like I did. And they're all like, no, you would sacrifice anything for them. You would give your whole heart changes in a different way, and it grows like 3 sizes like the Grinch or whatever. Bullshit. Doesn't happen to everybody. If you never feel like you need to pee, you don't recognize the feeling of needing to pee. Yeah, 100%. If you have a hover parent or a helicopter parent, you might not get the feeling. You might not catch on. I had a timer early in the day due to how often she had accidents yesterday, but let up because she'd been doing good. Bad decision on my part. Oh no. I want to have kids someday, but I keep thinking of skipping the super early phase and adopting. Honestly, so like when Oz and I decided, like, yeah, maybe we want to start a family, I told her, I said, I like babies. I have a lot of cousins, nieces, nephews, so I have a lot of experience with like being around little family members, right? I said, babies are fine, but I'm going to be really excited when our kids are at that like 4-year-old age where their personality really starts to burble out, and they get really curious and inquisitive about the world, and they start making assertions, and you start meeting them. I feel like a lot of 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds are samey to a certain degree. They're kind of goblins. They're kind of messy. They're kind of goofy. Sometimes they're cuddly. They're very smelly and whatever. Hard to rein in. But 4-year-olds, you start to meet a person. I said, I'm gonna really love seeing our kids at 4. And she's like, oh, you're crazy. But now I think she gets it, because our kids are 4 and 5. And now I think she gets it. And now she's like, oh, I kind of don't want them to grow up. And I'm like, see, 4 is like the sweet spot. I think you're on the right path. If you could skip the baby bullshit and go straight to about like 4, that's some good shit. You really get to meet like a tiny human in a really cute phase of their lives, and a phase where you like compelled to want to like teach them and show them stuff and have them try things and explore and fail and try again. And yeah, 4 is great. I was donor for 2. That's it for me. Hear ya. I knew from the time I was about 10 that I never wanted kids. Nice. If you know, you know, I've known since I was little that I want to have kids, but I also know I'll never feel ready for it because just how huge of a thing it is to take on. Don't ever seek out that feeling either. You could study child development, and we did in our off time. Oz and I are both big nerds. So when we knew we wanted to have kids, we spent, anytime we weren't gaming or going to work or whatever, or she was in school for mortuary science, we were also studying child development and all that sort of stuff, creating, ground rules and ideas for progression, how we were going to manage the household and what choices we were going to make to raise our children. And a lot of that goes out the window when you have kids, and kids live in a cloud of probability. They don't cohere to one given path. So unless you prepare for all of those probabilities to happen, which is too much effort, you really just have to have an ongoing conversation. Even with a baby that's nonverbal, you're having conversation, you're having nonverbal cues, you're learning about them, they're learning about you, they learn their environment in different ways. You listen to a gurgle or a cry and you learn stuff differently too. So you'll never be fully prepared. Monetarily, you'll never fully be prepared, just so long as you're not like in abject poverty. Make sure you have some decent support. Don't bring a baby into a place where you need where you're not able to provide properly. I know that might raise flack, but I strongly feel that way. I feel very much that for little innocent human beings to be thrust into a family that says, well, at some point something will change and or God will provide, or the government will step in. We'll do everything we can. They're happy where they are. Just don't do that. Make sure that your affairs are taken care of before you put somebody unwittingly into that situation yourself. Where are we? As a female, I've gotten, oh, just wait, you'll change your mind more times than I can count. Those people can fuck off. Frankly, I can't stand anybody that would ever step into my life. You can't make an enemy faster with me or with anybody I've ever met. You can't make an enemy faster with somebody than to tell them what they are or what they will be. You know what you are. You know what you're thinking right now. You know what sort of person you strike me as. You know what I bet you're going to do. That stuff is a clear path to vilifying yourself in my eyes. Don't ever do that to somebody. It's one of the rudest things I can think of, is telling somebody what they are or what they will be. I missed the potato stage of my little. Wish we could skip years where they start causing trouble in the potty training. Wow. I don't know. The potato phase is hard for me because there's little to connect with. They're cute, but they're so dependent on you, and it takes a lot of your time and effort. My nephew, I started really being able to connect with him when he was around 5. Now that he's 10, we're just buddies and love hanging out. Awesome. He always wants to snuggle up to me and play games with me whenever I'm over. That's great. Those are going to be some great memories for both of you. These are going to be core memories for him too. Terrible 2s are the single worst stage of raising a kid, I'd argue. 3 is a little bit worse. I know terrible 2 is a meme, but when a child is 3, they have all of the sociopathy of a 2-year-old. No real empathy, proto-empathy at best, or they act. If you say, that really hurt, can you apologize to me? They'll make the face and say, I'm sorry, but they don't mean it. They don't feel it at all. They're feigning anything that looks like actual emotion. They're just like little sociopaths. And the difference between 3 and 2 is 2-year-olds are inept with their bodies. 3-year-olds are getting good at manipulating stuff. They can do so much more damage. You can't leave them out of your sight for as long as you can a 2-year-old, because they will fuck shit up and they can really hurt you too. 3-year-olds know how to hurt people. Yeah, I'd take a 2-year-old over a 3-year-old any day. Mine wasn't too terrible at 2. It was 3 to 4. She started getting bad. Yeah, 100%. Same with ours. I want to start annoying parents by saying, oh, I know, I have cats. They're my precious babies. All the while knowing I don't have cats. Fur babies are awful too. I think the worst thing about being a pet owner versus being a human owner, a reproducer, is you can You can love cats and dogs, but if there's a cat or dog in your family, in your household, that acts like a toddler, you will never fix them. A human at least grows up and matures, but a bad toddler dog or a bad toddler cat, just look at Mary's dog, Scotty. Any of you who know Mary, if you don't, Death Moth Curios on Twitch and on YouTube as well. Her dog is locked in toddler, and she's getting older. She's getting to be an older dog, but her brain, her mindset is locked in toddler, and she's awful. She's not fun. She's not sweet. She is sociopathic for a dog. She's not like a lover and a cuddler and you know, is kind. She is just an annoying. She's very cute. She's very cute, but she's very annoying. Where do we go? How far back was I? Fiance and I suspect she's autistic. Can you do testing for that already? I know there's a certain age you have to wait for that. Raising an autistic child is a whole next level of ordeal. There are more resources now than there ever have been, though, and so I'd say, you know, if you knew anybody that went through the process, you won't necessarily live that same experience in 2024. Our neighbor across the street has a level 2 autistic child. Yeah. I've had conversations with lots of intentionally childless women who have the same problem. People telling them they'll want kids just because women always obviously want kids. It just makes absolute zero sense. Have you ever met somebody and say, you look like the sort of person that likes chocolate? Well, you know, everybody who looks like you likes chocolate, or everybody of your ethnicity, gender, weight class, height, age likes chocolate. You can't make blanket people who make blanket statements piss me off. All of them piss me off. I'm just kidding. I'm making a blanket statement about people who make blanket statements to make a point, to be ironic. But yeah, it's such a fucked up thing to say. Including your life is incomplete as a woman if you don't have kids. I legit married somebody who had an idea similar to that she thought legitimately having kids made you more mentally stable, and if you didn't have kids, not only was your life incomplete, but you were also more prone to be mentally like not all fully there. Guess what? She has no kids. Even to this day, she has no kids. Interesting perspective, right? Bright side of raising an autistic child now is there's so many more resources. Yeah, Likos knows what I'm talking about. When my parents were raising me, there's next to none. It's a miracle I ended up the way I did. I was a little demon growing up. Man, I don't know anything about the new rating scales of autism. I usually have some browser open up for this kind of thing. That is not the one I wanted to open. We do. Where's my browser? Is I have this sort of thing up and ready to showcase, but I don't think I added it to this. Window capture. Brave browser capture. There it is. That's only on one of my streams. I have to do this for both. Let's bring this down here on the other stream, on the vertical stream. That's right, we're streaming on 4 different platforms. This gets confusing. Keep up. All right, so it's here on both. Let's take a look. The level signs and symptoms. Angel sense? What is this? Let's take a look. Levels of severity. I only know, please, no thank you. I only know this through conversations with our neighbor. CDC.gov, maybe this talks about them in terms of the different levels. Maybe not. I thought this would come up faster. 3 levels of autism. Here we go. That's a lot better. In the DSM-5. Perf. So, yeah, ASD level 1, requiring support. Mildest or highest functioning form of autism includes those who have previously been diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, now no longer a proper diagnosis in the DSM-5. Individuals with ASD level 1 may have difficulty understanding social cues and may struggle to form and maintain personal relationships. A child with level 1 autism may understand and speak incomplete sentences, but have difficulty engaging in back and forth conversation. I have some family members like this that might have escaped a proper diagnosis because of their age, but it makes you wonder, you know. ASD level 2, this is what we were talking about earlier with somebody that the girls know. Social communication and repetitive behaviors present themselves more obviously in level 2 than in level 1. Children on this level have challenges in verbal and nonverbal communication, reduced or abnormal responses to social cues. We see this a lot with the neighbor. Inflexibility of behaviors more pronounced. Repetitive behaviors appear more frequently and may be obvious to casual observers. I had a typo there. Likewise, children with level 2 autism may have difficulty coping with changes in routine, which can cause some challenging behavior. Again, I know some adults in my family that might be here too, now that I think about it. And then level 3, this is what people might think of when they just think of the term autistic. Nonverbal use of only a few words of intelligible speech. Initiation of social interaction is very limited, as well as response to others. An individual at this level may interact with others abnormally and only to meet immediate needs. Inflexibility behavior, extreme difficulty coping with changes to routine. At this level, restrictive or repetitive behaviors interfere with the individual's ability to function. Changing focus from one activity to another may come at great difficulty and cause significant distress. Yeah. All right, let's put those away. So yeah, that's kind of the newer understanding of autism on a 3-point or a 3-grade spectrum. Let's back up here and catch up with chat. We're going to get her retested soonish. The last time we got her tested, they were like, no, she isn't. But the therapist said, I bet she is. When it comes to females too, testing is a little bit behind the times. And I feel that it's more common to misdiagnose a young girl than it is to misdiagnose a young boy because of the way that autism can be expressed. It's worth noting it's notoriously extremely hard to get an actual diagnosis in girls because they mask it naturally. Look at Legos. He says everything I say. We have another brain twin here. A huge portion. They mask it naturally. A huge portion of girls and women with autism are diagnosed way later in life. Yeah, 100%. Back when it was a thing, I was diagnosed Asperger's syndrome, but they since revoked that being a thing. And they didn't revoke, they just revoked the terminology, but not the concept. Yeah, now it's just rating. She won't look at us in the eye when we were trying to have a serious moment with her. And this is relatively recent. It's a struggle for sure. That can also just be avoidance. That one's a little bit tricky. That could be a sign of something on the spectrum, but children also avoid eye contact when they feel like the emotions that you're presenting them are uncomfortable for them. All kids do that. They're avoidant. They're hedonistic by nature, and so they'll push to try to get the best feelings all the time, whenever they can. Hoping stands up. Higher functioning than my niece. Does yours have any vocalization yet? My niece didn't have any vocalization until she was 6. Yeah, level 1 is generally where anybody classically diagnosed with Asperger's would be. Vocalization is a singing following a tune. Communication with words. She's speaking. She's just struggling with some of the sounds and letters when speaking. That's not uncommon. Coming from a background in linguistics, I can tell you, especially English is just a garbage language, and we have some sounds that are hard for anyone. Just listen to anybody who comes over to the US with a background in another language where they don't have all the same phonetic sounds that we do, and listen to the way that they pronounce words. You might hear certain replacements happen. I have a friend, a really, really close friend, who was born in Brazil, and she spoke Portuguese and Korean. Her family's Korean Brazilian. They speak Portuguese and Korean first, and then when they moved to the US, she learned English. She can't say the TH sounds. So like thick and thin, she just says like tick and tin, and like the and that, she says duh and dat. Those sounds are just hard if you didn't grow up making them to try to replicate or try to learn later on in life. And you can hear it in children. Children have massive trouble making certain English sounds because they're hard to make, not because they're bad at language, but because English is bad as a language. My niece is definitely level 3. Gotcha. If she has it, she's probably level 1 then. Could be. Hard to diagnose until they're pretty much in school. Yeah. That's a way to be more conscious. I've learned since the last time we talked about something serious, I kind of refused to stop what I was doing and go into research mode. I think that was a flaw. I think that was a flaw. This is the sort of community where we would take the time, we would stop, and we would actually pull up a proper resource and discuss things in their pros and address things together and make sure that we're all on the right level with correct information, as opposed to, well, I think what I heard was, or, yeah, my cousin said, or like, I've got a friend in the medical profession and she was all. We're not sticking with anecdotes. This is going to be the type of channel where we all level up and we gain something from it. So if we get into the area of speculation or analogy, I'm going to stop what we're doing as best as I can when I can, and we're going to actually pull the core information up so that we all benefit from that. Sound good? Sound like an accord? Yeah. She's been in speech therapy since 2.5 due to the regression. Oh, interesting. So maybe there is something there. I got a triple whammy of ASD, ADHD, inattentive, and mild dyslexia. That must have made school particularly challenging. Do you have any learned behaviors or tactics that might help other people to know that worked particularly well for you? I was in speech therapy myself until 5th grade. It might be a long-term endeavor you'll have. Maybe. I mean, I know adults that I feel I wish they had gone into speech therapy, because you can tell there's something missing in their capacity to communicate or pronounce. Low-key hope not, but if that's what happens, then so be it. I should also mention she has 2 very autistic cousins, so that's low-key why we have that option open to look at anyway. Doesn't hurt to check and make sure, because you really want for any child, the best thing that we could hope for is that that child would have support for their particular ecosystem of needs as early as possible, right? I think that's what all of us would want as soon as possible. Find out what's going on, learn about it ASAP, and then work to ameliorate that condition or whatever it is that they're going with. Even if it's a positive thing, learn about the positive things about your children early on as you can, so that they get the support and the contributing factors to navigate their life in the best way possible. Yeah. Damien, you ever heard of Lawrence Kohlberg's Stages of Moral Development? I have not. I'm not familiar with that name. Elucidate. Even just knowing what it looks like helps a ton in being able to identify it. That's very true. I don't think I've met the cousins if my memory serves, but fiance knows them. I got a friend who just found out she's autistic and she's in her late 20s. Fascinating. It's like her entire world got shattered, or can be rebuilt. I know I should be empathetic, but it's kind of funny how her entire worldview is collapsing while she's still the same person she's always been. At this point, it's nothing more than a label. That's true too. I mean, if you've already got systems that work for you and you don't really necessarily need anything from the diagnosis, like a pharmaceutical or something, or a psychopharm to change where you are, then it is just kind of like a nice to know. Like, oh, huh. Well, that explains some things from my past. School's been an absolute trip for me. The 6 stages of development are similar to what you're talking about with kids being hedonistic beings. Oh, it's about development of the human brain. Should we take a peek? Do you guys want to take a look real quick and see what that's all about? Let's see. Let me pull up the browser again here. This was Lawrence Kohlberg's stages of moral development. I'll do the search before I pull up the thing, the browser. Subscribe. I'm not going to subscribe to learn about this kind of stuff. Especially if it's 1958. This is old information. All right. Found something from Britannica.com that seems like a reasonable source. Boop, boop. All right. So this is based on work from Jean Piaget's theory of moral judgment for children from 1932. And then this was developed out in 1958. This theory, though extremely influential, was based on research that used only boys as subjects. Oh, okay. In the 1980s, the theory was criticized by the American psychologist Carol Gilligan for universalizing patterns of moral development exhibited by boys and ignoring the distinct patterns characteristic of girls. So, big caveat there, everybody. So, let's look at the different levels of development. Level the first, pre-conventional level. Morality is externally controlled, 100%, right? Rules imposed by authority figures are conformed to in order to avoid punishment or receive rewards. Why does this sound like certain organized religions to me? This perspective involves the idea that what is right is what one can get away with or what is personally satisfying. Level 1 has 2 stages, the punishment/obedience orientation and then the instrumental purpose orientation. The first one's just avoiding punishment. The second one is to receive rewards or satisfy personal needs. In other words, being a hedonist, right? Little kids are very hedonistic. I've heard so many parents say stuff like, we feed them only chicken fingers and mac and cheese because if we didn't, they would just starve. Guess what? Kids will never starve themselves because they're hedonistic. If you put vegetables in front of them, and we've had to do this with our kids who have eaten vegetables all their lives and do not have sugar and all this sort of stuff in their diets, sometimes we have to be hard-nosed and just say, hey, eat these veggies. And if they refuse, we don't feed them anything else. And then eventually they cave in and they eat the vegetables because they're hedonistic. They're not going to starve themselves. They want to do whatever's in their best, whatever serves them best, and not going hungry is what usually serves a baby the best. So they eat veggies. Level 2, conventional. Conformity to social rules remains important to the individual. The emphasis shifts from self-interest to relationships with other people and social systems. Our little is like this, our tiny is not yet like this. The individual strives to support rules that are set forth by others, such as parents, peers, and the government, in order to win their approval or maintain social order. And that's an interesting part about our little. She does not even care about approval. She cares extensively about... No, don't disconnect me from the server. Don't disconnect me. I'm not done. Hang tight. I will come back to this. Don't disconnect. Just because I've been AFK for so long. Yeah, she will actually do the rule mongering just to maintain social order because it means something to her. It's not about what we care, how much we love on her for being a rules police. In fact, we tell her to tone it down so that she's not quite such a bully. We want her to be a good leader, but not a bully. So we're towing a line. But she definitely doesn't do it just for approval's sake. Like, something in her really, really cares about rules. I don't know what we did there, but it seems to be the case. Stage 1 is basically no morals. All there is rules. Stage 2 is self-interest. Stage 3 is basically trying to be a good person. 4 is understanding the basis behind law and order. Stage 5 is understanding moral values on a societal level, and 6 is universal moral truth. Interesting. It's highly debated, but an interesting read anyway. So 3 is good boy, nice girl orientation. Maintain or win the affection and approval of others by being a good person. Yeah, our little's a little bit like this, but not as much as just maintaining social order. And the tiny doesn't care. She'd rather be awful if it meant she gets what she wants. Law and order orientation in stage 4. That of societal laws, moral decision making becomes more than the consideration of close ties. They believe that rules and laws maintain social order that is worth preserving. This is where most people I know as adults seem to be. Hopefully, I think. Actually, I know a few adults that haven't reached stage 4 yet. Wait, there's another stage 3 over here. Post-convention or principled. How did that happen? The individual moves beyond the perspective of his or her own society. Morality is defined in terms of abstract principles and values that apply to all situations and societies. I know some religious thought that does this, and that's scary to me. Stage 5, social contract orientation. The individual's views laws and rules as flexible tools for improving human purposes. That is, given the right situation, there are exceptions to rules. This is where I hope you guys all are. When laws are not consistent with individual rights and the interests of the majority, they do not bring about good for people, and alternatives should be considered. Love that. Universal ethic principle orientation in stage 6. This part seems a little bit scary to me. Some individuals will never reach this level. The appropriate action is determined by one's self-chosen ethical principles of conscience. These principles are abstract and universal in application. I can see some universality in human beings, but not a lot. This type of reasoning involves taking the perspective of every person or group that could potentially be affected by the decision. Like, everybody should try to minimize suffering, right? That's something I think that we can all kind of agree upon. Some suffering happens. Some suffering might need to happen. Some suffering can be used as a tool for learning. But by and large, we as a society would try to minimize suffering. But there aren't a whole lot of like, how do we eat? How do we raise our kids? How do we structure our societies? What sort of laws require what sort of punishments? A lot of those from culture to culture, even neighboring and even person to person within a culture, there's a lot of disparity there. Once you start talking about universality, it gets my skin crawling. Ligo says stage 4 is where, according to this theory, things tend to settle for most people. Yeah, I think the majority of John Cube public I meet tends to be around 4. Yeah, I don't know why there's 2 stages 3s there. Good example of those would be lying is bad and murder is bad. Yeah, obviously we have cultures that believe that murder is fine as long as it's in a war circumstance or, you know, to protect yourselves from an aggressor. And plenty of people, even in non-warlike societies, believe that lying is appropriate because of tact. You know, for the bare concept of lying, it sounds ethical on paper to say if you ever deceive or mislead somebody, that is always a negative thing. But if somebody asks you for an emotional validation, they might not be asking you for truth. And if you provide them with truth, you might be causing them more harm than if you were tactful instead. Right. Even in relationships, just 2 people that decide to date and or get into a serious monogamous relationship with one another, do you want to know exactly what that other person is thinking all the time? Or do they think unfair thoughts sometimes? Do they think impulsive thoughts sometimes? Did you misspeak or get misheard and they're thinking something that if they said it would be harmful? maybe even lying by omission is good in certain circumstances. A society based on laws eventually breaks down into cliques of people who can trust each other. So society fundamentally pushes toward an understanding that lying, while useful sometimes, is overall bad. Same with murder, where there's some cases recognized to be okay at times, like self-defense, but a society based on murder will eventually form cliques of people who trust each other not to murder each other. Yeah, I could see that. Ultimately, I think we all do glean around certain universalities. I just believe that those universalities have to be kept to something of a minimum, and the vast majority of what defines ethics should be considered gray and off limits. And so the place where universality lives, I think, has to be small, vastly agreed upon, if not completely universal. And we have to admit that there are things that just live outside of ethics and ought to forever be left alone. Like, what game am I going to stream tonight? There isn't an evil game to choose and a goodly game to choose. They're just gray choices. The only two universalities I really believe to be true are lying and murder are bad. And even that comes with caveats, so they're not really universal. Yeah. If somebody tried to harm one of my children, I don't think that I could stop myself from neutralizing that person. Now, I probably wouldn't, in theory, in my head, work to try to kill that person unless they sort of forced my hand and closed other windows. You know, if I tried to maim, cease, neutralize, stop, disarm, disable in some way, and they were not going to be, there was no other option except to kill, I would probably visit that circumstance if there is still a threat present to my children. And same thing with lying. If I felt like it was going to really harm or potentially completely destroy a connection with somebody, because I knew that the truth was going to be the least tactful, the most painful, and the worst thing for somebody to receive. It wasn't where they were, it wasn't what they needed. And even if they didn't know how to ask for it, what they were asking for was not the truth, but for just something else, an engagement in some other way, a connectivity in some other way than the actual truth. Even when somebody says, you know, tell me the truth. Tell me the truth. Would you invite me to this party? Do you really tell them the truth, or do you find a tactful way to say something that might not be absolutely true, you know? Tell me the truth. Would you date me if I was the last person on earth? Hopefully people don't present you with these are obviously like social manipulation kind of questions, and maybe your best answer shouldn't ever be a lie, but it should be, I don't engage in this type of social manipulation, and I will talk to you when you want to be civil. Stand up for yourself so you don't get trapped by people that wanna fish for a certain type of answer from you. But you get the point. There are certain instances where I think absolute open truth is more harmful than positive. Yeah. It's like how Texans don't really fear everyone around them having guns. If you just assume everyone has one, you just be a normal, polite person and there's no issues. I've heard the debate, not just from Texas. Yeah. Our state is no license to carry state as well. You don't even need a license to conceal carry. Don't go to that topic on someone harming my child. I already had that issue. Oof. If there's somebody you need Oz and I to come up and rough up, you let me know. Even if everyone has guns, it's recognized they're for defense. In theory. And most people will use guns in that format. I mean, bruh, I've been asked if I'd date them if they were the last person on Earth. Oof. That's a manipulative question. My dating days are done. It's way too much work. I can't imagine. I thank God that I don't have to date right now, because I can't imagine entering that space and trying to navigate it. I'd be awful. I was awful at dating back when it was easier. Now I feel like it's really hard. Too much. My response was straight up, I'd find the fastest way to join all the others so they'd truly be the last person. Oh, heart crushing. Did they cry? I might have cried if I heard that answer. Welcome back, Dai. Judging from the satisfied smile on your face, I'd say you've managed to solve Raina's little problem. I knew you could do it. You have something to ask of me? By all means, fire away. You're going to teach me stuff, right? Unsolme? Red glowing worms? You're not going to believe this, but I've got a few of these magma worms of yours right here in my pocket. A pair of adventurers were in here earlier, a botanist and a miner selling their diggings. I bought a few wrigglers off them that fit that description. Give me those flaming hot worms. I wonder if these are like gummy worms and red hots mixed combined. Let's chew on one and find out. I thought they might make decent fishing bait, but it seems they're not cut out for the cold. As soon as they hit the water, they'd turn hard as rock. Perhaps they'd fare better in the heat. Here, consider them your reward for taking care of that business with Raina for me. If you're thinking of trying your hand at this hell fishing game, Giovannia is your best bet. There's a string of volcanoes in the Forelands, up where the dragons dwell. Just promise me you won't go getting yourself killed, alright? Akuma, is that you? Just kidding. I kid. Whoa, level 55 gear. Damn. We should have done this a long time ago. The girl was hella manipulative. Yeah, that's dangerous stuff. Oh, I probably need to do some inventory management. Holy crap. Let's do some inventory management. I'll be back. She was interested in me. I had absolutely zero interest. She tried to bully me and blackmail me into dating her. Wow. That's, she's got so many red flags. What to say? That's awful and scary. Dating is like a foreign language to me. Yeah, I don't blame you. It was my neighbor's boyfriend's grandson. Don't ask about ages. I don't know. Kid was aiming one of my neighbor's son's BB gun at the golf cart. Me, my kid, and neighbor's niece in. Wasn't an adult out when we were past, when we went past minutes before, or I would have handled it differently. Wow. Anytime a kid has a weapon, I cannot fathom and I cannot imagine just leaving that kid unattended. That's... I don't even care if it's a BB gun. You could put somebody's eye out with that easily. It's dangerous stuff. All right, what else do I have here? So many things that need to just not be in my inventory. It's raining. I was editing one of my old streams to eventually put up on YouTube, and I realized there is definitely something going on in this room that I'm in that's causing like some crazy post-nasal drip issues with me. I have some sort of mad allergy to something in this room. And I see it once I watch myself for hours on stream. just how bad it is. It's a little disturbing. I'm a little scared that streaming from here without some sort of proper filtration device for the air is ticking minutes off the end of my life. You know what I mean? Have you always had the reaction in this room? This room hasn't existed forever. So, as far back as I can remember this room, which has only been a little while, I remember having issues sitting here that my nose flares up and I get weird, like post-nasal, mucosal stuff. And it even affects the nature of my voice. My voice sounds different. I'll have to like publish more stuff where I'm not in this room, so you can hear sort of the difference. I personally think it's affecting the quality of my voice. I got all my Elden Ring streams downloaded to start editing them and upload them, but the idea of needing to make thumbnails for them scares me off. Really? There's so many like they're good like thumbnail tutorials you can find here and there. Just take everything with a grain of salt or copy somebody's style you really like. You know, they say thievery is a form of flattery, or mimicry is a form of flattery. I forget how it is. That gives you at least a starting point for where you want to go with it. And don't think, you know, don't think too deep about it. It's not a thing that if you misstep, you're sure to thrust people away, or if you get just the right color hues, then you're going to go viral from nowhere. There are ways to achieve virality, and the thumbnail is a, you know, one small component. Just maybe run it by a few people for QA first. It's always good to get like a dozen opinions, because if you know a lot of people who are like you, they're gonna think the same things you are. They're gonna look at your shitty thumbnail and go like, oh yeah, it looks so good. That's exactly how I would do it. You got to find some people who are dissenting from you, people who have other opinions, other vantage of the world, and poke and probe them to sort of get a broader understanding of what you might change or what you might not. Oh, I missed out on slices, right? That's all right. That's what I try to do, because I think sometimes I think my shit smells like roses, and it does help to pass things by. Honestly, you might imagine that Oz and I, being like a married couple and whatnot, that we have a lot of ideas in common and we support each other, but she's really critical in a great way. Like, I can show stuff to her and she'd be like, you know what? I don't think that it tracks. It doesn't land. It's not very good. Or like, I really don't like this part of it. She's got strong opinions and gatekeeping about what should and shouldn't work. Even when I absolutely love something, I'll still back off and defer to her opinion, because I'd rather be more conservative about what I put out there than decline to use her opinions and then just navigate myself off a cliff, because I'm you know, I'm just listening to myself too much. Wait, what am I doing? I need one more zero. I'm weird about that stuff. Being weird is fine. I expect a happily married couple to have no more than about 70% in common. That's pretty high. I don't meet people like me. I just don't know. I don't think I know people like me, period. And then if you count all the people that are tribally close to me, then you cut out all the people that I'm just not oriented toward. And then you cut out of the people that I would be oriented toward, how many of them I find attractive. And that narrows down the people I would choose to be with in a relationship to a very small percentage. I said no to a lot of opportunities for somebody who, I don't know, I feel like my generation guys were painted as like you take what you can get sort of thing, and I was always very picky and snobby, and I said a lot of no's to a lot of, you know, potentially very nice people, but nice wasn't everything I was looking for. I was looking for nice plus a lot of other stuff. So Oz and I don't have anywhere near 70% in common. We're together for other reasons. I got out of the golf cart and yelled, "Let me catch you," pointing that at my daughter again. Found out the neighbor had come out and was confused on what had happened. I told her the kid aiming at us said it was empty, but all it takes is that one time it isn't empty. And the kicker, that's the first time I ever saw that kid, and I scared him. He thought I had a gun. I own a taser, but I didn't tell him that. Well, it doesn't matter what the kid thinks. The kid can think all that they want. No kid, no anybody should ever point a gun, an unloaded, empty BB gun. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what goofy thing. It could have just been like a cap gun. You don't point it at people. That's you just learn those rules, especially when you're little. So you don't do dumb shit when you're old. Sorry for the delay. Oh, no worries. Never apologize for delays. I'm a hermit. Dating isn't a thing. I don't meet them. I feel like I keep dipping out by turning people down, especially since I want a relationship, but I've just never been at a point where I feel it's right. There's no problem with doing it that way. I think relationships can be so hard to get in, can be so expensive to maintain, and then can be so emotionally challenging to break out of, that if you're not sure, why would you put all of that on yourself when you could just wait and maybe the opportunity presents itself? And when you know, you'll probably be a lot more on fire about it. You probably won't even think, should I or shouldn't I? It will just, you'll feel compelled to want to spend more time with that person. I was too much of a nerd. I had no interest in parties till my mid-20s. Are you saying you would meet people at parties? I never met a dating prospect at a party. That's a lie. That's not true. Well, so I met somebody at a birthday party, but she came because she was in the guild that a couple of my friends ran in World of Warcraft. I was in that guild because I was their friends IRL. So I'm going to this party. They're at that party. We all know each other from the before World of Warcraft times, and we're just friends. And then this girl comes to this party I've never met before. She's just a guildie in this guild. And I'm like, oh, I know your name. You're so-and-so from World of Warcraft. And she's like, yeah, that's me. So I did meet somebody at a party that way, but she was in sort of in a different way before that. I've certainly never gone up to a stranger at a party who I didn't know them in any capacity and chose to date. And I went to parties. I don't think parties are particularly a great place to meet people, to date. Most people don't go to parties to meet people to date anyway. Felt bad for scaring him, but for an unknown kid to aim toward my kid, even if not directly at her, Mama Bear kicked in hard. Good. Good. Yeti. Speaking of Mama Bear, how you doing, Mama Bear? I'm not gonna start calling Yeti Mama Bear. It's just the synergy worked together right now. How we doing? What's good, my one-legged master? How many goats have we sacrificed this week so that we can get me famous and get Necrogasm famous? I kind of got that right now, but the person I'm interested in is a lesbian, so that won't work. Probably not. And I probably wouldn't wait and see. Nobody was interested in dating me. No interest in parties. I was too much of a nerd. I didn't get invited to parties. I mean, nerds hang out, though, too. What I'm saying is, I don't think going to parties is where people meet dating prospects, especially nerds. Like, I know nerds who started dating, but they started dating because they were at a convention together. They were at D&D together. They went to a books or like a screening of a movie or book signing, and they met there. It's always something different than like parties, you know? Here's Yeti, by the way, for those of you that don't know this lovely beast. Is this you, or are you playing somebody else's footage? Looks like somebody else.
No, that's somebody's leg.
That's somebody's leg.
Oh, is that you in the audience? Cheering them on with your leg? I love it. On the bright side, I can act as her wingman. Yeah. I talk like an old person. That's fine. Nico does the same thing. I mean, he's got some grays in his beard, but he talks like he's a lot older than he is. It's fun. It's a mood. I have old sisters, so I think I have like a really old soul. Plus trauma. You know, anybody with severe family trauma when they were younger has an old soul. Anytime if an adult used to come at you when you were a kid and like, oh, you seem so mature for your age, you got a really old soul, that was just code word for it. You actually probably had a really traumatic childhood. So Yeti's band Necrogasm has a show tomorrow, and they're raffling the sacrificial limb. Amazing. If anybody's in the North Carolina region, should check it out, see if you can go. You can find anything about them just by Googling the name. There's nobody else competing for the name Necrogasm. I don't even need to spell it online. You all know how to spell that word. Nobody would go to cons with me either. Gotcha. Well, I mean, that's where you meet new people, though. That's me in the crowd holding my leg up. I've never been to parties like that. Small friend gathering for Halloween or just for the heck of it, but no big crazy parties, overprotective parents and all. Yeah, I can understand that. I imagine the demographic that I'm streaming to is probably different than the demographic of people that I ended up hanging out with where I was going to these parties. Although in their, not defense, but in their, to colorize them better, they weren't all like alpha, you know, sorority and fraternity, you know, jock cool people either. A lot of them were nerds in their own regard. They're just popular nerds, if that makes sense. Your parents took you to your first bar? Oh, that's something my parents would never have done. I'm eating cheesecake. I'm bought 70 and 12. Oh, both 70 and 12. That's a fun place to be. You can kvetch about things around you, like, you know, raise your fist and shake it at the way the world is changing, and you can also enjoy fart jokes. You get a chance to win. Yeah, that's right. So if you can go to this show, you get a chance to win Yeti's prosthetic leg. It's true. In case you don't have a leg to stand on, or if you want to call yourself tripod and you can't do that with another body part. This twirly crystal sculpture is okay, but I like the other one better. Each one's different, and the old school ones, this is one of the older ones, are just like okay. Like they're pretty. But the further along in the game you get, the more interesting and intricate they get. So I like being in the later areas for that reason. When I turned 21, my sister insisted on taking me to go to get drinks. All my friends and I wanted to do a LAN party. I love LAN parties. I wish those were more of a thing still. Yes, we do love Yeti. Yeti has a heart of gold. What was I going to say? Oh, when I turned 21, I bought my first alcoholic drink ever, but I was also straight edge, so I gave it to somebody else. There was a girl in our group that could not buy a drink because she didn't have her ID on her at the time. And I was like, I'll get you a drink. I believe that you're of age. And everybody's like, yeah, she's of age. She just doesn't have her purse with her. And I was like, I will buy your drink. I wasn't even trying to like what's the word I'm looking for? Make myself known to her. It was just everybody was drinking and I wasn't going to drink, and I felt like my ability to buy a drink shouldn't go to waste. I should just do something nice for somebody who wanted to be participant with everybody else. And then we went over to a friend's house, and 3 of them smoked themselves dumb, and I also didn't smoke marijuana at the time, so they, you know, they all drank, they all got stoned, and then they watched an anime that I also wasn't really into watching. It was a really bad 21st birthday. I felt like I went out with some people that all did a bunch of things they wanted to do, and they were like, that was fun, right, D? And I was like, nobody asked me what I wanted to do, or I would have said no to all of these things. Oh, and we went to some like lame ass franchised a crab shack or whatever. They do stupid things for your birthday, and they did stupid things for my birthday, and it just compounded the already shitty day I was having. Yeah. I wish I could do 21 over again. Although I probably wouldn't drink because... yeah. ...2020 was sort of like a big old global LAN party. That's true. I love you guys. I'm just a guy who's trying to conquer the world. And with your death metal, you will make it happen. And when you get famous enough, you have to use your earnings as necrogasm to do little side projects. And one of them will be a side project with me. And we'll have our own love metal band, like His Infernal Majesty. Yes, please. Please. I do occasionally get drinks now. My graduation celebration with a coworker, we went to a nice steak place, and it was the first time I didn't get carded. Nice. Good stuff. I look hella young for my age, so I constantly get carded. I got tons of stories of people thinking I'm way younger than I am. I've heard that too about, well, I guess just about, not just me, but like my whole family. Finns just have a certain genetic predisposition to not age. Although I finally got some gray hairs in my beard, but way later than my own nuclear family did. I forget who I'm supposed to go see. All 3 of my sisters got gray hair. I'm allowed to say this because I'm the bratty little brother that's gonna, you know, out them for this. They all got gray hairs, like their hair out of their head. Obviously they didn't have beards. Well, I don't know if that's obvious. My sisters didn't have beards growing up, but all of their hair started graying in their like mid-20s. So I was like, oh, all right, here it comes, mid-20s, like bracing for it. And then I had some friends, you know, even just in college, were starting to go peppery or, you know, salty. And you could see just like little strands of gray just sort of like filtering in. I'm like, oh, okay, it's gonna happen. You know, I braced for it. All 3 of my sisters went to the bottle. They all like changed their hair color to, each one had a different color, which made it very easy to keep them apart. Although they're very different looking people too. So I braced for it, and then it just didn't come. I didn't go gray until we had kids. Then as soon as we had kids and all the stress and late nights and all the shit that comes from turning into a parent, I was like, oh, okay, this feels awful. And then boom, all the grays just like poofed out of my body. Like, here's where you catch up with your sisters. Yeah. And theirs wasn't kid driven either. One of them had kids early on. That might be where she got her gray, but the other 2 went gray without having kids. So yeah. For my 21st, I got a phone call and a lecture from my mom about what a horrible doubter I was and reminding me I owed her money. Lovely. That sounds worse than mine. I want to do a side project with you so bad it would be awesome. Honestly, like, I see it working. I absolutely see it working. Especially if we could pinch your friend that does the songwriting for Necrogasm. Because I feel like he could channel a good hymn vibe too if he put his mind to it. I didn't start seeing grays till my mid-30s, and even then not really till I started at Walmart. Oh no. Walmart was your moment, like your parental moment. You probably had to be parent to some coworkers and customers. It's that's an easily graying job, I imagine. I'm still sad about the time I saw you and we forgot to take a selfie. I know. The world will never know that we actually know each other in real life. My brother says that I just got glitter. Aw, well, that's a sweet way to put it. As long as it's like the hair and not like a beard dander or something. Glitter is such a good way to look at it. Some people's hair, as it starts to turn gray, gets really like pretty, like kind of silvery and sheen to it. I had a coworker who had black hair that was starting to come in, all like silver strands mixed in through it, and I thought it was like really pretty. It was a nice look. I think we're such, especially in the United States, so age fearful. We're afraid of turning old. We're afraid of all the things that happen when you're old. Of course, we come from a culture where people abuse their bodies with diet and bad jobs and all that sort of stuff, and the kind of stress that we put on our populace, the way that we handle medical, all that sort of stuff. We put immense stress on it, so that by the time that we do get old, we really put ourselves through the ringer. You know, we'll never look as well preserved as some cultures that actually want to keep their populace happy throughout their lives. But I think we need to start changing that and start appreciating the wrinkles and the battle scars and the aging and sagging and the way the hair changes and all that sort of stuff. It happens to everybody, unless you die young, which, you know, everybody sort of agrees is kind of a tragedy. So as long as you're living a long, full life, why not appreciate the later years as much as you appreciate the young ones? And I hear this even from old people. I meet a lot of old people. I actually worked at a retirement community as my first job. And I spoke with a lot of the residents there. And they seem so much more interested in telling you about what things were like when they were little than telling you about what they're up to like today. I'd much rather learn, you know, what's life like for you right now? What's inspiring to you now that you're retired? What do you do with your time? Like, what are your ambitions? What do you like to do? Your family is bigger now. You know, you've got descendants of descendants. How does that feel? You know, talk to me about that phase of your life. Don't tell me about how cool it was to be 20. We all know 20 is cool. You know, let's start learning more about how 70 and 80 can be cool. It sparkles, it's translucent, more than white. That's awesome. I haven't been able to bleach/dye my hair in a few years. I'm itching to, but bleach costs money. True. Hair too dark to see much dye on it without. Oh, gotcha. My ignored box full of manic panic. Too many people focus on the past. I agree. It's hard to live back there, and there's nothing you can do about that stuff. You know, you can reminisce a little bit in your own spare time, but you know, I feel like it hinders how you interact with the present and how you make plans for the future to keep looking backwards. And sharing your stories with other people is a lot less interesting than I think we give each other credit for. I wish we were more honest. I wish we were less lying of a society in this regard. When people start telling you about their past, I wish we were more honest about the fact that that's probably about as interesting and informational to people as telling somebody about your dream, especially if they are in your dream. Yeah, I dreamt about you and you were riding a lizard and you were really rude to me. Like, you in the waking world, you're not this rude, but in this dream, you were really rude and I really wanted to punch you. And when I woke up, I was really mad at you. It's like, you tell me this, I'm just bored. I just want to move on to something else. It's like verbally describing a TikTok to somebody. It's a waste of my time. Don't waste my time telling me about your dream. Don't waste my time telling me about, you know, how life was better at 20. It's one thing to share stories that are relevant to a topic. It's another thing to just like reminisce about how things were better. Know what I mean? We as a society focus so much on what people did and not on what people do. That's one thing I was kind of fearful for when counterculture was kind of at its heyday. Counterculture? Sorry. misspoke, cancel culture in its heyday. I feel like holding people accountable for things that they do that are worthy of punishment, worthy of societal punishment. Like you presented yourself in the public forum with this idea, or you chose to do this policy. Everybody learned about it. There should be repercussions for your actions that go beyond just the laws in place. Sometimes law doesn't catch up with how we feel about something, but you know, we can share a story and get an idea across through virality, and that can have stronger effects. But sometimes cancel culture for a while, I don't know if it's lightened up a little bit since then, but I guess I hear less stories in this vein. But for a while, people were saying, oh yeah, well, this guy went to dinner with so-and-so like 10 years ago, and that's awful. Or he posted this thing back in, you know, this Angel Fire website back in 1997, and I think we should hold him accountable for that. It's like, that was a completely different person in many regards. You know, some people were young and dumb and didn't know anything about the internet and like had completely different ideas that they probably don't espouse today. Just, if you're going to make somebody out to be a villain, at least first check to see if they still are, if your source material is ancient. There's nothing to say that, you know, having a bad social connection with a villain, like, oh, you know, this guy's posing in a picture with Epstein, like, that wasn't that long ago. But maybe if that was 20 years ago or something, check to see if that guy's still like the same sort of person, the same sort of connectivity. I don't know. I might be back. I gotta go thank someone for a gifted sub to Botha. Oh, go do it. I want to discuss you releasing an acoustic cover of our song Sacrificial Limb or Ritual. They have pretty choruses and would sound great with clean vocals on them. Hit me up in DMs. I would definitely do that. I've got recording equipment here. I've got the guitars. We could make that happen for sure. I would just need, you know, talk it over, discuss permissions and rights and all that kind of stuff for sure. Some stories are really funny though. I do agree, but too many people focus on their past as a definition of their worth now, right? Which just ain't how to do it. Imagine the presidency of Halo lobby chat ever were to leak out, right? Like, yeah, he's a naturalized citizen, and you know, voting records like this, and here's his policy when he was a congressman. But let's take a look at the Halo lobby. What was this that you kept saying? You said this word 50 times while waiting to match up. Can you talk about this? We've all been little shits at some point. Yeah, guilty as charged myself. I have huge actually villain acts to my story, and I in fact have spoken about this on stream before in the past. I disapprove of and generally distrust anybody who only says good stories about themselves. Like, oh yeah, here's the time where I saved, you know, all these people, and here's the time where I got a standing ovation. Here's the time where I did really excellent performative. Or if you're always the victim of something, like, oh yeah, then these people lined up and they were all mad at me, and then on this forum, like, everybody cussed me out and I got banned, and here, like, I was wrongfully a ticket placed against me and I lost access to this. And it's like, if that happens once or twice, yeah, maybe you're getting victimized. But if it happens all the time, you need to go to Reddit and start a "Am I the asshole?" thread, because it might be you. Hell, I was raised with extremely misogynistic views until mentioning them in high school got me in trouble, and I realized it was misogynistic in the first place. That's awesome. I don't know many people that admit to, like, meeting other people and realizing how wrong their ideology was. I've had some of that deprogramming myself, and that's part of why we exist in the format that we do, where we're, you know, games, but much more predominantly a place to deprogram, de-radicalize, break status quo, challenge our paradigms, understand the opposite side, while not platforming anything that's hateful or harmful. That's I feel very passionate about this. Those people are hiding shit. Yeah. I was never a little shit. I never knew it was possible to be until I was too old to find it funny. Wait, what? I don't trust you if you say you were never a little shit. All right, what am I doing here? We need... Oh, don't we need to come right back and pick up the next quest in line from that guy in the... Where are we? We're in the wrong area. Forgotten Night. This quest. We're stuck at a point where we can't continue as a fisherman in the Sea of Stars until we get a skill, so we need to go back and do some of the older fisher quests. Ah, Daya, your timing is impeccable as ever. Listen, we've got a bit of a problem here, and I'm going to need your help to get it sorted out. This gentleman here is an old friend of mine from back home, in the domain of House Rouge Cop. I've known him since I was a boy. The problem is, home isn't looking so homely anymore. It all started when the Lord of Rouge Cop Manor passed away. By all laws and customs, control of the estate should have passed into the hands of the elder of his two sons, but the fellow is away on his travels right now and has little interest in returning to the estate. Of course, until he officially renounces his title or turns up dead, someone has to take charge of the house's affairs. Hence his younger brother, the late Lord's second son, has assumed control as Lord Regent. But the boy is a dunderheaded fool. Where his Lord Father was well respected by the small folk for his just and generous rule, this egotist rules only for himself, terrorizing the populace with increasingly outlandish demands. Take my friend here. For many years, he has worked as the manor's head chef, feeding that monster from the day he slipped the breast, but even that hasn't been enough to spare him from his new master's spite. The Lord Regent plans to hold a banquet to welcome an envoy from the Holy See, and has demanded to be served a platter of letter puffer, a fish that has been extinct for years, and should my friend fail to provide the fish, his head will grace the platter in its place. I cannot let him get away with this. There's nothing for it. I'm gonna have to... Unless... Might there be another way? Dai, I beg you, could you catch one of these letter puffers for me? It's a matter of life and death. The creatures may have been fished to extinction in Ishgard, but there's still a chance they survive to this day somewhere further afield. If only we knew more about their movements. We must needs speak with someone who has an encyclopedic knowledge of the migration habits of cloudfish. I know, Sisapu. While Wawala goes out fishing, that's a mouthful, she's always got her head in an almanac. Maybe she'd know where to find them. My life is in your hands, milady. If there's any help you can offer me, I'd be most obliged. If it's a letter puffer the Lord Regent wants, it's a letter puffer he'll get. But he won't get away with threatening my friends. By the time I'm finished with him, it is he who shall be the endangered species. Man, this guy's a little intense. Thanks, Rush. Appreciate your face. Also, hi. How's the snack god? Anybody have a snack for the snack god? I'm still fasting, so I haven't got stuff to feed you. I gotta get back to doing story. I'm at the start of 6.3. Yeah, I need to do story too, but Oz and I do story together, and she's streaming other stuff tonight, so I'm catching up in other ways, but every little bit counts. Pity, that's kind of a nice username. Amakareth?
Crimson Dawn _85 just subscribed.
Crims.
Just dropping in to let you know I'm still alive. Miss you guys.
We miss you too. Hope everything's doing good in your world. Hit us up in DMs sometime. Hope everything's been fun, good, not too busy, or just busy enough. Maybe you like it busy. I super appreciate you stopping in. And thank you so much for the 3-month streak. As busy as you have been, you keep coming in and showing the love. Appreciate your face. Rushy is in and out. Yeah, we did Crimson. Originally a friend of Nico's, but anybody who's a friend of Nico's is a friend of mine. He gets a strong vouch. Also, he's on the Minecraft server, and in addition to some of the other master builders like Troa and Oz's dad, Crimson showed up. He put down some amazing stuff on the server. It looks beast. Just in case. Good overall, just busy as always. My wife had surgery yesterday, so she's recovering through though doing well. Oof. I hope her recovery goes smooth and quickly. And hope it was just a minor thing. I should ask Nico sometime how they know me. Oh, Lady Nico, are you still in chat? She was she's been kind of lurky for a bit, but she was here earlier. Oh yeah, Yeti, not Crimmy. Crims. Crimmy and Crims are two different people. Yeah. Just two people that love a color. Nothing wrong with that. Okay, where am I going? Cloud Place. Oh, here's where we're going to learn ether fishing. This is what we need, actually. Great, so we didn't have to go too far. Wait a second. Where are we going? Oh, the Fisherman's Guild in Limsa Laminza. Oh. Neat. Neat. We're not going to pay the 500. We can just go take the airship. Dumb. Minor stuff? Okay, cool. Yeah. Well, yeah. Give my regards to the missus. Hope you guys are doing great. Tell her that I started plotting out my base in Minecraft near where she built hers. All right, we need... Where am I going? There. Lady Nico is the one who recommended you raid me. Right. And I completely forgot if I know them. It's been so long since I streamed before. Maybe. Maybe it was from the before times. Yeah, I don't... I had mentioned to her that it was very meaningful that we raided into your community and I got to meet you. But I didn't get an answer as to where that recommendation came from. I'll still take it. Yeah, Yeti, you can just you can direct your love in any direction, and I'm sure everybody else will approve of it as well. Crims, if you don't know Yeti, he's good people. We vouch for him. I met him. We don't have a selfie together, but I met him. I see an onyx up ahead. Onyx in the house. Oh, he's actually not AFK. I thought he was going to be actually gone. Oh, wait, Vian's here? Oh, why am I not friends? Well, we'll remedy that, like, immediately. I have names turned off, so if I am supposed to know somebody and they're not a friend, I'm not going to know them. We'll have to get back on it. Haven't touched your server in a while since there weren't people on it much when we were online. It's still a little bit like not everybody gets on. I mean, everybody who plays on the server also plays like 5 other games, so we all kind of rotate on and off here and there. But stuff gets made. You should see what Tro's committed. Looks like Lady Nico followed back in 2021. Gotcha. I feel bad I don't remember them. Honestly, you had so much life between then and now. It's how can you? You can't necessarily remember everybody. I direct my love to Damien. Oh, right back at you, bud. I met Damien. Yes, it is true. He did. My memory is shit though, so it is what it is. You know, I don't know. Yeah, it's a Nico. Everybody's here. The whole family. It's not the whole family. Just some of us. I kind of made a country. It's true. With the Wonka Vader to space. Also very true. All right, we're going to say goodbye to these lovelies because we got other stuff to do. Yeah, this community is maybe like half people I've never met and half people who I am now friends with because you knew somebody who knew somebody who knew somebody, or you're a fan of somebody who I was good friends with, and then I took you away from them. I've honestly, and I kid you not, and nobody has to confess to this if this applies to you directly, but I have been accused by some streamers, and I'm not going to say who they are because it's rude, but I've been accused by some streamers of being a fan stealer. And I'm like, they probably watch us both. I mean, I don't know. I don't usually lurk on other people's streams while I'm streaming myself because I already got the quad stream thing going on. So I've got my Instagram window here. I'm monitoring YouTube chat here. Kick chat's over here. Twitch chat's down there. I got OBS in both vertical and landscape over here. The game like here. The one camera for now, and you know, I got a lot to manage. I'm not paying attention, but some people have accused me, like so and so used to hang out in my streams and they were an active part of my community and I felt like they were a fan, and now I see them on your channel all the time and they're not, I feel like they're not in mine as much. I kind of feel like you took them from me. I'm like, it's not my fault. Not my fault. Yeah. I feel that I play a lot of different games. Hard to find time to watch you guys work, take care of family stuff, and play games with friends. That's a lot of plates. Lots of spinning plates, man. I'll have to remind myself to DM you an updated tattoo picture. Yeah. Though I haven't got work done recently due to money. I mean, yeah, that's stuff to save up for. Oz and I have wanted tattoos for years. We just decided, you know, do we prolong having kids to go get ink done and then try to start a family, or do we start a family first? And her biological clock was screaming. The alarm clock was screaming. So it was like, okay, let's go have kids. And then there went our tattoo money for the next 5 years. If someone's losing viewers to you, it just means they need to do better themselves. I'm not going to say that to these streamers. There's no way I'm saying that. It might be true, but that's a truth that I would rather be tactful about and maybe not come at it from that angle. That's my problem. I don't have any time to watch you, Nico, and Oz, but also want to play the game with my best friend and occasionally stream. Oh, want to watch. Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot of stuff to do, and 3 people to watch, and we all have schedules, and some of us stream at the same time. Like Nico and I stream Thursdays at the same time. Oz and I stream Fridays and Saturdays at the same time. There's a lot of overlap in our schedules. We used to have it cut up. I don't know if you all knew. Nico was the first one of us to start live streaming, And then Oz and I quickly jumped the bandwagon, and then Oz's brother and his partner both jumped on too. And the 5 of us split the week up about as evenly as we possibly could. You know, we took 7 days. Some of us got more time, some of us got less. We even tried to make it so if 2 of us streamed on the same day, one would start later than the other. So we really weren't like cutting the audience up very much. And we would recommend that everybody tune in every day of the week to catch Nico, me, Oz, Botha, Spotted, the whole lot of us every day of the week. Come join all of us all the time, always watching streams, just us. And then life got in the way and we couldn't keep doing that type of schedule anymore. I've got a girl who, while she still loves me, stopped watching my streams so much after we raided into a new guy, and she found him incredibly attractive. That happened. There's a, so you all who are here on the regular may know there's a guy that pops in named Jamgobar. I don't know how to pronounce his name exactly, but we just call him Jam for short. But we used to have a Jam before Jam. His name was Sticky Jam. And I was playing the game Control, and I found somebody else to raid out to who was also playing Control. And we vibed, and I go check in on her streams from time to time and see how she's doing. And every time I do, I see Sticky Jam in her streams. And I haven't seen him in my streams, Nico streams, anybody from our original group ever again. It's like he found her, and that was the last streamer he would ever go. If you're watching this on VOD, Sticky Jam, I am throwing you under the bus, but, you know, we miss you. And I don't think it's fair that you got stolen by that other streamer. I mean, I just have to up my game, right? I'm just shocked anyone watches me. So if I see a viewer of mine in another stream, it feels like all is right in the world if they're not watching me. I mean, I do like to see who other people watch because it gives me a little bit of a broader idea as to how some of you are. I know some of you on a deeper level, but many of you I only know based on bits of text that come across my screen. So I try to make a persona for you based on the chats that I remember and things that you've said about yourself, anecdotes and trivia that you share. Or if you don't, then, you know, I do my best. But knowing what other communities and what other sort of things you like to watch helps me understand better too. What's fascinating to me is only one of you, of everyone in my greater community, that's like absolute fledglings and the ghosts for sure. I only know one who watches content like this, i.e., we're in deep conversations. We do a lot of like deep breakdowns. We stop and do research. We talk about difficult things that some people might get triggered and leave and maybe come back on the next stream because this particular chat's getting spicy for them. This sort of like we're in a game, but it's really more about how the chat develops, and we're built around a philosophy versus, yeah, I just want to be like the best Final Fantasy streamer out there. I only know one of you that watches at least one other streamer of this category. And there are folks like me out there. I've done my research. I know who my market analysis, you know, what I'm up against and what else is going on in this vein. But most of you just like watching other people, like, you know, gaming and play, like actually just playing a game with some chat. So I find that interesting. Maybe I just don't know, though. You can let me know if I'm wrong. So like boo, but I can't be mad. Yeah, I guess. Everybody watches people on live stream for different reasons, right? For what it's worth, I have no Twitch followers that actually watch me when I do stream. Not likely to steal anyone from you. Gotcha. So your followers don't watch you, but other people do? That would be interesting. I wonder what the metric is on that. Like how many live streamers have followers that are not engaged, but then have randos come in who are engaged. I see that. I don't see that on Twitch, but I do see that on my metrics on YouTube. So whenever I'm streaming, we stream across 4 platforms at the same time. With YouTube, I can see who is coming back and who has been subscribed to me versus who is new to the channel. And so I get to see that mix, and it's interesting. You know, it varies from stream to stream and what I stream. I always try to push my viewers to go say hi to my favorite streamers and go hang out in their streams. I always like for my viewers to hang out other places to go when I didn't stream. That makes sense to me. Yeah, I mean, I always raid out when we're doing things on Twitch, and I have my recommended streamers set up in my About Me section, so there are people I definitely enjoy sending folks off to, especially if I'm not going to be online on the given day. Granted, I have zero consistent schedule when it comes to streaming. That makes it hard. Consistency does help breed your following, from what I understand. Does Asmongold count for that? I would say so, because I think he's of the vein where you go to his channel for him, right? It's not like he is the icon for a specific game, and that's what you go for, like the best player of Elden Ring or whatever. Like, you watch Asmongold for his personality, his take. He shares a lot about himself. He's connective with the audience. It's not just like, oh hey, thanks for coming, this is what we're playing, now back to, you know, level 2. He connects, and that's where I'm building this community to, is a chatty community as opposed to a watch me master a game community. Your stream is how I just hang out with friends, so it's super familiar to me. Nice, I love that. I just chill with friends in voice, primarily talking while playing a game in the background. Perfect. Yeah, this is right up your alley. Honestly, couldn't care less what you were playing unless I'm playing with you. Aw, that's such a sweet way to put it. The sort of conversation is what I love to have on my channel, but no one heckin' talks. Get there. Get there. That sounds so reductionist. Just get there, man. Just get there. No, practice, and ask. Be intention focused. You know, talk about your intent. Say, this is what I want to talk about. Even concoct some topics when you first start out working in that direction, and be like, hey, I kind of want to bring this up today, or have a deep dive about that, or here's a question. Put it in your stream title. Let everybody know. Even just if you're going to be playing a game, maybe set the channel topic to just chatting instead, so that it's clear that people who are coming in aren't like being gaslit into thinking, oh, he's going to be focused on the game. Why isn't he focused on the game? He's been, you know, sitting still talking to chat for like 30 minutes and what's going on. You know, be obvious about what it is that you're doing, and be consistently ask. That's sort of been my tactic. You could find some other people and see what they have to say, but that's my suggestion. At the beginning of 2024, I made it really, we did a whole like PowerPoint presentation of what I wanted to do in 2024. It was super nerdy, and I was like, here's my intent, here's our State of the Union address for the next year, and what I want to do with the community, and where we're going to change things up. And and I feel like it was a big success. I love where we are now. I'm so geared up to make this into the business that I think it can be. And after, you know, working some of the numbers with Oz, and I've talked with some of you about it too, I think we really can make it so that she can go back to work and I can do this as a business venture, and we will not be, you know, living out on the streets. I think we can make it work in a wonderful way, in a way that I feel feeds into making a community that I believe deserves to exist, and deserves to be a legacy, and deserves to change lives. Yeah. Okay. Off my high horse. Let me catch up with the rest of the chat here. I've got a guy I know who mostly does art streams, but also Souls games sometimes, and he does lots of environmental / health deep chats while Oh, environment and health, deep chats while he draws. That's cool. We had a whole health talk on focused on diet. It's in editing right now. It's an older one, but I do want to get it up online. And I'm even fact checking myself because I think some of this stuff with this things like I learned anecdotally from members of my family in the medical industry for years. And I fact check myself to make sure that I don't say anything that doesn't mislead. You know, I'll be putting caveats in the editing process and adding some studies to sort of back anything that I say, so you're not just listening. Well, it's D and D talks authoritatively, so I believe what he said. Don't believe what I say. I refuse you if you believe me. Don't believe me. Go find out for yourself if I'm right. And so I want to get that up on the YouTube channel too. It's going to be a long form one. It's kind of a long talk, but we go through a lot of really important stuff. I do like talking about health. I just don't have anyone that watches me. As I've said, it's more than I don't honestly put any consistency or much effort into it, so that's on me. Yeah, I mean, and if it's something that you get interested in and you find ways to rearrange your life so that you have more bandwidth to focus on that, then I'm sure that you'll see those numbers change. But if it's back burner, then you'll probably see, you know, back burner engagement as well. I know the problem. My chat's usually dead as a doornail. I watch shit tons of Asmon, but always skip his game portions of his streams / videos. Interesting. It's like that part doesn't even matter. Just like Crims was saying, right? Doesn't matter what you're playing unless I'm in it. Yeah, that kind of stuff. Like it's good. And for me, you know, we play a lot of really fun games on the stream, and some of them I really like giving critique to. The Myst game series is so like deep in people's nostalgia. I like being able to speak to my emotional reactions on how it was developed and what I think of the lore and all that kind of stuff. Lore has been chef's kiss like every freaking game, by the way. And I like sharing that with people, but I think the reason why I see so many of you on the non-Myst nights is because you're not here to watch some dude in 2024 talk about Myst only. We've got so much more we could talk about. We could connect on such a deeper level than just that. And I wouldn't blame anybody for skipping the gameplay portions of my VODs to just like get to the juicy parts, you know? Absolutely. I don't care about his gameplay. I want to hear his thoughts and opinions on topics. Yeah, 100%. Issue with all that is having people to talk to in the first place. Finding those people, that can be a challenge. I mean, even for me, I'm you know, I'm small time. Welcome back, Akuma. I'm small time in where I am right now. Part of that is on me because I took such a huge hiatus from content creation from when I started. I had kicked rocks from YouTube for a really, really long time. And then even when I came back, it was like my stream schedule that I took up the part of the week after everybody else did. Botha, Nico got the really, really good days. Then Spotted and Oz got like the second tier days. And I got like the shit tier days, frankly. But I asked for it that way because I was much more focused on taking care of the kiddos, getting Oz more time on her computer because she was really hit hard by both postpartum and being in the pandemic at the same time. It was awful for her. So I was like, I want you to get streaming. I want you to get good engagement and build an audience. And she did. She built up an audience really fast and strong. And I was really impressed. Nico is just like amazing right out of the gate. And he already had some knowledge of how to do live streaming. He had done research before he started. But I was really surprised by Simbotha and Player Spotted. They had no experience at all. They were learning as they went along. And they built huge communities out of nowhere. They spent a lot of time off stream romancing their communities as well, like staying up late in Discord and hanging out and playing games and goofing off and like really being connected with their people. But they took off. No media training, no streaming research, no nothing. And they just made huge waves. And I just didn't, because I was deprioritizing myself, prioritizing a lot of other things going on. Now that we are so heavily focused in making this businessified in 2024, I'm seeing like leaps and bounds changes in my own, you know, business metrics. But what's funny is like my amount of like subscribers on YouTube and AKA followers on Kick and Twitch. It's very small, but I get engagement numbers of people who have like 5 times to 10 times more followers than I do. And I love that. That's very, I mean, it's humbling. It makes me feel nervous and weird, but at the same time, good. Like something's going right if I'm able to pull the kind of watch hours and active viewers that somebody who's been in the game and much more focused about this a lot longer and has much larger followship. Followship? Is that a thing? Than I do can pull. And thank you, because everybody listening to this, me talking about this right now, what I'm bragging about is you being here. Thank you. Sorry, I was playing MHR with Botha Inspired. Oh, no worries. Lady Nico, when did you first find Lycos? If you can remember. We were curious if we had answers from you, or if we had asked that question before. I love you, Damien. I'm going to practice guitar a little longer then crash out. Yeti, I love your face. Please be well. Rock out with your cock out, and then get some sleep. I'm here for Troa's gyoza personally. I don't blame you. There's an addictive substance in there that I can't talk about, but it's true. To me, Nico is a close friend of mine, even if I don't interact much with him either, but due to our history, he will always be that. Anyone he vouches for is by extension a friend of mine, and I hope to build closer friend relationships with those that I can. I love that. And I love that somebody who knows Nico on a deeper level than just streamer says that about him. I make this analysis with who he is as a person as well. When I first met him, I wasn't sure if we were going to hit it off, but it turns out we were basically like, we could have been best friends a long, long time ago, given how many interests we had in common and how many times our lives could have potentially converged on each other when we lived in the same area of the country, and it just never happened. And then once we finally became friends, like we just couldn't stop. Every single game that we picked up, we both got together. We played a ton of online games together. We worked together in the same company. Before this current company, we both worked together in the same last company together. Our lives are just like immensely intertwined. Our girls call him uncle. We were at their wedding. Like, you know, it's just basically he's family now, 100%. They wine and dine. Sounds good. Nico is a good being. I will always feel bad for when he briefly fell victim to me getting hacked a couple years ago. Toady, I don't know the story. What happened with that? I'd love to interact with both him, yourself, and Osmore. Just so little time to split among everything. I'm going to work on it. Take your time. I think I can speak for Oz when I say this. We're not the sort of friends that demand that you are regular and consistent and timely to maintain a relationship with us. If time passes with no communication, we don't hear from you, you don't DM periodically to remind us that you're still friendly, we don't hold that against you. We don't ask what about the gaps in your resume. You know, shows here you were friends with us from 2023 to just the beginning of 2024, and then what happened for the next 8 months? Do you have an answer for that? Like, we will never hold anybody to that standard. You can come back after years of not talking with us, and we'll just pick up and be like, oh yeah, so catch us up on what happened, and then we'll be friendly again. So, in your own sweet time. Okay, let's talk to Cece Boo. Well, look what the catfish dragged in. It's nice to see all that fame and fortune you found as a master fisherman hasn't stopped you from paying your old instructors a visit. What can I do for you, Dai? Well, you see. You want to know about letter puffers? Then you've come to the right place. When you went to Kurthus and saw those cloud cutters, it made me realize the guild was lacking in its learning about Cloudkin. So I bought up every book I could find and read them all from cover to cover. I see a Lady Nico in the corner. Stalking me? Well, hello. Letter puffers are a type of flying fish that are packed to the gills with a potent poison. Slice out the venom sac and their meat makes for a tingling taste sensation, but a prick in the wrong place, and you won't be leaving the latrine for a week. Uh-oh, it's like pufferfish. Got it. I hate how companies care so much if you got a gap on your resume. I think they're getting over it. A friend of ours, I don't think I'm allowed to say who, but a friend of ours just recently got a management position at a company with a huge gap in their resume for reasons. I mean, there were life reasons. They weren't business oriented. It wasn't like an employment situation or a bad vibe that happened with their former employment. They didn't like burn a bridge or anything. Just things happened that were very explainable and human reasons. The company interviewing them didn't even ask about that. They didn't care, didn't want to hear the answer. No story required. Just we're looking at what we see as far as your skill set and your performance and everything thus far. And we think we'd like to take you on in a management position right out of the gate. I was really, really happy to hear that maybe at least one company so far, anecdotally, but maybe more, will start to move in that direction of, you know what? People don't have to work every year of your life. There can be so many reasons. And honestly, it's no company's business what you do in gap years. No business at all. You don't have to, I don't think it would be worthwhile to answer, because what are they going to learn about you that's going to be applicable to the job that you're applying for? Unless you say, I took, time off to do an apprenticeship in the skill set of the job that I am now in an interview for, right? Something like that. I get it. But most of the time, doesn't even matter. I want to take a few months now that I've finally finished up uni to just sort of exist and catch up on stuff I've always wanted to do for a long time. If you can, do it. Once you start working, it's kind of same old for a long time, right? So yeah, besides vacations, having a little bit of time before then can give you clarity, navigation. Yeah, it can really help. Doing so nukes your ability to get a job? Maybe. Take my advice with a grain of salt. I don't know if everybody cares about gaps or who still does or who doesn't. I was dumb and tired, made a mistake back in 21 or 22, which ended up having my Steam account hacked long enough for the person who did it to get to Nico. I don't remember this. I don't remember hearing about this. Nico did try to verify it was me by asking for the pupper's name, but I'm guessing that came up after a Google search on the hacker's part. Oh no. Because you're Googleable. I'm Googleable. Nobody has my first and last name but me. But if you misspell Damien, you can... Anyway. That'd be the dream. Having been in a management position for almost 2 years, I'm still not sure how I feel about being in management. I just like to get a response to a job application that isn't just a phishing attempt. Yeah, for real. There's so much bad stuff out there. I can't imagine going back into the market right now. Granted, I'm not part of hiring, but I don't personally care about gaps in people's resumes. I don't know why anybody would. Life does just happen. That's true. As for their migration habits, I'm sure I read something. Yes, westerlies. Whenever the weatherbane swung to the west, the Ishgardian nobles would go out in force to catch as many as they could. And they caught a fair few, all right. By all accounts, they fished the poor puffers to extinction. In Ishgard, anyway. It could be they still colonize the clouds further west over in Dravanian territory. Try asking around over there. Someone might be able to tell you more. Thanks. Boom. Companies feel it's okay to ghost applicants, but if an applicant does anything, it's immediate disqualification. It's weird. I don't understand, but there's got to be a way to get an application through these days without doing like weird, crazy stuff. I've heard people putting in like white text in a PDF so that it gets picked up by search algorithms, or trying to just do meta things with their files. It seems like such an awful time to try to get. We're also in a historically low unemployment percentage, right? So right now, finding a job, those of you who are looking, it's a challenging gauntlet to try to get through. You've got so few open jobs because we're so well employed in this country.
What's wrong, Doug?
Thank you.
Nothing, not a thing.
And
I'm right as the mail.
of the people who are clamoring for those open jobs, many of them are employed and are just looking, to change things up because they're sick of what they're doing, or they want more pay or something. The one thing that seems to help my nose while I'm in this room is water, but I can't just like permanently drink it. I mean, at some point, my stomach will hit capacity.
Can you stop kissing everything?
Well, hello, Moth Mommy. Welcome on in. Everybody, welcome. Our raiders. Let's get a shout out for Death Moth Curios. I'll do the honors. Double rainbow.
You get nothing! You lose! Good day, sir!
I have bad news. I'm so sorry. None of my visuals for my alerts are going off. So that includes bespoke videos that play on first chat, any of my channel point redemptions. Everything is broken right now. I updated to OBS 30.2.0. If you are a streamer and you're not at 30.2.0 yet, maybe hold off because we've got some issues on my stream.
I can smell you.
Womp womp. I heard something play, but I didn't see anything play. It happened to you too? Lame. Do you have a fix for it? Because I don't know how to fix it yet. Anyway, welcome raiders. Hi. Hello, everybody. Welcome on in. I'm Damian Halme. You should know me by now. If you don't know me by now, welcome. Wednesday through Saturday, 10 p.m. Eastern / 7 p.m. Pacific, 4-hour streams, 4 days a week. Different thing every day of the week. On 4 different platforms. You choose. YouTube, Instagram, Twitch, Kick. We do multicast. You have to reconnect all of the sources for video and images. Do you know how many commands I have? All of them? I'm going to go be horizontal. Oz, please be well. Thank you. We shouted out Oz earlier tonight, but let's also do a shout out for Death Moth Curios. This one actually does work. Thank goodness.
A runner with a kinku is who comes running. No, I love you, Oz. Oh, God.
I didn't even mean it that way. What the hell?
That's how you said it, though. You did say it that way.
No, I said who comes running, like who like, hello, I'm coming, you know?
You're making it worse.
You guys are, what the hell, man? You guys need to get your mind out of the gutter. What the hell?
We are degenerates. We are. You can't say stuff even borderline kinky around us, or we will take it the wrong way. If there's a wrong way to take it, we'll find it. I've not got the best job experience by any means. I've been in customer service and kitchen hell for a while. Pay is fine, but I just need something with better conditions. I hear that. Man, when I was trying to scramble out of especially food service, it's hard to get out of that industry without just jumping back into something else that does the same thing. In fact, the first time I popped out of food and beverage, because that's basically what I did like fresh out of high school and all through like carrying myself through college and that sort of stuff. When I finally got my first like clean, not smelling like food at the end of the day job, it was like a miracle. It was, you know, like a hand reaching down from the clouds, pulling me up into a whole other tier. Because I don't know if I would have been able to just do it on my own. Yeah. Hope you have a good night, Oz. Good to see you, if only for a second. Imagine blowing your load while running. That just sounds flaily. Like, I don't know. Like trying to spray silly string and run at the same time. Not the commands, not the files themselves. If you stop by after stream, I can show you what I mean. Okay, cool. I will. I'll be working on my comic until way too late. Sounds good. I'll come and knock on your door. Kinky is in my DNA. Then you're exactly where you need to be. Although, weren't you supposed to be asleep like 15 minutes ago? Not that I'm trying to get rid of you. By all means, I've been enjoying that you've been here with us. I've done customer service most of my life, trying to get away from it because I've hit my customer limit. Man, imagine if you could just say that. Imagine if you could tell your employer, hey, I need placement in management or like shipping, or put me in an office somewhere. I've hit my quota. I've hit my maximum amount of customers. I just helped 25,000 customers yesterday, and today I'm telling you, you need to give me a different role that's not customer facing, because that was the last. Sirens went off, balloons fell, confetti, everybody clapped. That would be lovely. Nobody else will even consider me for anything, though, it seems like. Yeah, I don't know how you get visibility and placement these days. I've been working fast food for the past 5-ish years. I'm tired of coming home smelling like oil and covered in burns. Oh no. I got to get you some protective gear. Burn your clothes, not your skin. All I've done is customer service my entire life. I'm burnt out on it myself. Yeah, customers are awful. I got hella funny stories from retail and food service. I think it makes everybody funnier, but it's not fun living it. I was supposed to leave, but since I'm just laying in bed and don't have to be up early, so I was like, okay, all right. Don't let me boss you around. You know how to live your best life. If I had a list of the things I'd do for a decent paycheck, giggity, it'd be appalling. Would it be? Maybe it would be educational. Just lock me in a small room by myself and let me sit at a desk and work on a computer. That's the dream for a lot of people. I remember once work from home became a standard nomenclature, like right as the pandemic was really dropping. Everybody was like, how do I do that? Can I just like be at my own computer and receive money, please? Now that I'm in management, I can probably transfer skills over to other fields now besides food. Yeah, maybe. I think once people see management in the name, they don't necessarily need you to be a one-to-one. Well, if you were in food, you can only do food. You know, they see that as much more convertible into other industries. You know what I mean? You want to be the writer who wrote the 26 sermons of Vivek from Elder Scrolls Online? I could do that. I could see Tara doing that kind of work. Hoping my shift tonight is going to be calm because of the computer shit. Maybe. Yeah, maybe it's going to be a lot of, like, nothing. Everybody twiddling their fingers, just hoping something will connect up or something comes back online. Could be an easy day. Never know. I always loved the days when something went wrong, like, oh, a fuse like burnt out in the mall, or like, oh, it looks like this thing's broken down, or like we have no connectivity to our computers. Everybody just hang on while we figure something out, and maybe you could just chat with customers, or maybe you didn't even have to. There were even a couple points where I got sent home because of something dramatic happening to a store. I'd be like, oh, okay. And I never minded. I mean, even in my poorest days, if somebody said, would you rather stop earning money, go home and go play on your computer? I'd say, yes, please. I'm poor, but I also like to not work. Yeah. I heard there's only one working computer in the entire location. Jeez. That's got to be a shit show. I think judging sadness with distance from cheesecake is a choice and a goal. I mean, did you see... so some of you met Kaistiana for the first time last night, those of you who were privileged to join the stream. And it seems like she made a big impression with a few of you. But so I was talking to her in texts, and we twisted her arm. We got her on... actually, I got her on a lot of my socials that we hadn't connected up on yet. We're friends from outside of like me being a content creator. So she's like, oh, I guess I never added you on TikTok. Oh, I guess I never looked up your Discord server. I guess I never... And so we got her connected up to a lot of those. One of the first things we did today is we made sure that she got on Gluttony and post some of her creations. So she's on Gluttony, she's on Pride, she's on at least one or two other sins. So make sure you say hi. I don't have too many IRL friends in the Discord. It's a lot of community and not so many like people that knew me from the before times. But she and I go back, way back. So yeah, give her some love if you see her around. I think in Discord her name is Monk. Because why not? I've been pushing work on new things on the tech computer side at work. So that's skills I can use elsewhere. It's really big if you can. And it's not every job will allow you this sort of freedom. But if you do have the option to create space for you to generate what's the word I'm looking for? Transferable skills. I think that's the right term. Transferable skills, so that whatever it is that you want to get into, whatever industry you're aspiring toward, or just so that you have flexibility to say yes to more opportunities. You might not have that goal or target created in your mind, but just have something more leverage to be able to say, well, I could be positioned and placed into any number of these type of jobs because I have this extra skill set, or I'm particularly good now with financial software or with CRMs. For me, CRMs were a big thing. The first job I ever got where I was able to manage their customer relations management software, basically a roster of customers and detailed information about them, keeping track of communications and conversations that you have with the customers through that type of software. If you have that sort of knowledge of something that's high use, that's across a wide array of different industries, that's really, really helpful. Absolutely. Do you guys know what the 26 Sermons of Vivek are? I'm not... I played a little bit of Elder Scrolls Online. We all tried it together for a little while. Spotted, Nico, I think Oz was with us, and Onyx. We all popped on ESO together, and we were maybe making plans to do it for the long haul. And then everybody kind of noped out, and I felt kind of sad about that. The dude locked himself in a closet for like a week or something with nothing but coffee and cigarettes. What the heck? What's this? You can link them, we can read one. Interesting. I've always been a tech person, just no formal training. That helps too. To know it anecdotally makes you easier to train. Yeah. Word is drive-through is hellish, but maybe that'd give time for me to fucking breathe for once. I've worked in drive-through environments before. It can be hectic though, especially during big rushes. Behold, read the first one out loud and be knowledgeable about Vivek. Okay. We can do that. The staff list for tonight is wild. Got my work bestie, 3 of the 4, Thomas, and my favorite... I forgot you had a bunch of Thomases. My favorite managers. All right. Good luck. Good luck. That was the first area I played once I got out of my starting zone. The dude was literally riding like he was on an insane trip. It's special. And Todd Howard can't do anything about the fact it's lore for the game. Interesting. First job I ever had was washing dishes at some barbecue place. Got fired over a missing spoon. What? So I started working at the place down the road. That's bullshit. What the hell? Okay. Let's embark down this path, shall we? Sermon 1. Let me get a sermon voice going on here. He was born in the ash among the Velothi, a non-chimer, before the war with the northern men. I am, and I apologize, I'm probably mispronouncing all these fantasy words, but, you know, I don't know anything about Elder Scrolls. I am first came to the village of the Nechimen, and her shadow was that of Boethiah, who is the prince of plots, and things unknown and known would fold themselves around her until they were like stars, or the messages of stars. I am took a Nechiman's wife, and said, I am the face-snaked queen of the 3-in-1. In you is an image and a 7-syllable spell. I am Aeseti Aevek, which you will repeat to it until mystery comes. Then I am through the Nechiman's wife into the ocean water, where drows took her into castles of glass and coral. They gifted the Nechiman's wife with gills and milk fingers, changing her sex so that she might give birth to the image as an egg. There she stayed for 7 or 8 months. Then Set came to the Nechiman's wife and said, what's going on here? UESP in white looks so weird. What are we talking about? Milk fingers. It's kind of gross, right? What's going on there? Oh, the captions. You're reading the... Don't read the captions. It's going to distract you. And I'm surprised that it got that name right. That's... I'm so sorry it doesn't get your name at all. Okay. I am the clockwork king of the 3-in-1. In you is an egg of my brother sister, who possesses invisible knowledge of words and swords, which you shall nurture until the Hotator comes. And Set then extended his hands, and multitudes of homunculi came forth, each like a glimmering rope through the water. And they raised the Nechiman's wife back to the surface world, and set her down on the shoals of Azura's coast. There she lay for 7 or 8 more months, caring for the egg knowledge by whispering to it the codes of Mephala and the prophecies of Veloth, and even the forbidden teachings of Trinimac. God, Trinimac and cheese sounds so good right now, you guys. Just kidding. I'm sorry, I'm making fun. 7 Daedra came to her one night, and each one gave to the egg new motions that could be achieved by certain movements of the bones. These are called the Barons of Move Like This. Then an 8th Daedroth came, and he was a demi-prince, called Fa Nuit Hen, or the multiplier of motions known. And Fa Nuit Hen said, whom do you wait for? To which the Nechiman's wife said, the Hotator. Go to the land of the Indoril in 3 months' time, for that is when war comes. I return now to haunt the warriors who fell and still wonder why. But first, I show you this. Then the barons and the demi-prince joined together into a pillar of fighting styles terrible to behold, and they danced before the egg and its learning image. Look, little Vec, and find the face behind the splendor of my bladed carriage, for in it is delivered the unmixed conflict path, perfect in every way. What is its number? It is said the number is the number of birds that can nest in an ancient Tibril tree, less 3 grams of honest work. But Vivek in his later years found a better one, and so gave this secret to his people. For I have crushed a world with my left hand, he will say, but in my right hand is how it could have won against me. Love is under my will only. The ending of the words is Almsivi. What did I just read? Did we incant something that's gonna, like, end the world? What was that? I was trying to make sense of what I was reading the whole time, and I was like, man, I just really don't know Elder Scrolls. But the more I read it, I was like, this guy's tripping balls or something, right? Right? I don't know what that is. I don't know what that was. I developed a devious plot for the evening. Oh, tell us more. Milk fingers, Trinity mac and cheese. I'm heckin' hungry. I've not made dinner yet, and now you got me wanting mac and cheese. You're welcome. I've not had any in a fair bit. I don't know, Jam. I don't know what I just read. This text, it is a fever dream. It is chaos. This does read like someone who was locked in a dark room with nothing but cigarettes and booze. Honestly, kind of creepy. It gets better the more you read. A literal fever dream and sleep deprivation and caffeine high. I have an Easter egg that nobody has asked me about. And because we just read this online, I kind of want to bring it up. Let me just say where it is tonight, but I won't go further into describing or explaining or anything like that, except that we just read that crazy sermon, so you have some context about what happens. If you're watching on Twitch, you're the only people that see the outro screen, so I apologize. If you're watching on the other platforms, you don't get to see the screen because I always end your streams early. If you are watching on one of the other platforms... Oh, sorry. Let me back that up. If you are watching on Twitch and you see the outro screen, note how it's different from the intro screen. There is something there that makes it different. It's not just the text between the two, the big bold. Yeah. I'll leave it at that. There's something unique about the outro screen. That guy needed a medical intervention while writing that. Seems like it. I'm glad I heard none of that since I was scarfing down a sandwich. Because it would have rewired your brain or what? Gotta reread it for Toady. Toady can watch the VOD on YouTube. Sounds like forbidden knowledge. 100%. Redeemed dramatic reading on my Discord, the one in prose. Okay. I mean, if you insist, we have a channel point redemption I have to honor. All right. Let's see. Where did I put Troa's server? Can you at me? I can't save the game. Toady, this game is always saved. You should know that. It's telling the sermons of Vivek word. Thanks, Hans. Thanks, Lucas.
I'm right as the mail.
Is it a penis? It's going to be a heckin' penis. What did I read on Troa's Discord? I mean, if I have to, I'll just read the word penis. Or you can just ask me to say penis. I'll say it. We can play the penis game where we all say penis a little bit louder than each other until...
You get nothing! You lose! Good day, sir!
I appreciate all the redeems. I don't have my visuals up. I'm sorry, guys. It's still broken. But Mary says she seems to know a way to fix it. So we'll get there. Milk fingers, what do you think they are? Gross. My free company that played ESO, they'd make a weekly event of reading a sermon or two. The sound alerts are loud. All right, I gotta fix that too then. I don't know anything. How dare you? Oh, the Easter egg? Yeah, I hide penises on my stream. It's a heckin' ding dong wing wang. Sure is. Okay, am I just reading the... Let's see. The whole thing? Or just the second part of the post? How much do you want me to read, Troy? I live sandwiched between two very bitchy Republicans who probably wouldn't like to hear me screaming penis at 2 in the morning. I never see the intro screen, but I often see the exit screen. Okay, interesting. Even more reason to do it. The crazy tree bitch will probably do something more to retaliate. Oh, true. True. It's harmless. How do you want this read? Like, what sort of characterization do you want? I haven't looked at any of the text really. But, just read it. Okay. Is it the entire script of the B movie faded in the background? I can't make out any of the words on the ending text crawl. So it's not the B movie. Bedtime for me, have fun. Thanks, Kumu. Don't die. And whatever happened that was like an emergency that you couldn't say, I hope it's fixed. Okay. I'm going to read this non-disclosed thing. It was part of a Channel Point redemption. It's on Troa's Discord server. And I'll get to hear it fresh as I get to read it, because I haven't read a single word of this yet. So if there's anything weird in here, blame Troa. All right. I'm hanging out and reading last night, winding down after work, when I realize I'm actually a bit more tired than usual. I figure I've got nothing planned, and it's not like I'd be breaking any state laws crashing early, and I may as well get tomorrow out of the way so I can just get on to my weekend, right? Is this how you wanted me to sound? Because this is how I decided to sound. So I decided to crash and pull up something slow and sleepy on Netflix for background noise. I curl up in bed, and immediately my life flashes before my eyes as the nightly ferocious attack of the puppies gets underway. Once everyone has found their comfy spot and all is curled up with me as well, I get super drowsy and fade in and out of sleep for a while before dozing off. In the middle of the night, I wake up to this bizarre groaning sound. I look over at my computer and Netflix is on. It's, you didn't click the continue button, so here's a nice gray screen thing we all love so much. And of course, in my half-awake condition, every horror movie I've ever seen pops into my head. Not wanting to miss out on my shot to meet a zombie in person, I naturally get out of bed to try to find out where the noise came from. I poke around the house and everything is in order. Doors locked, windows closed. Nothing out of the ordinary whatsoever. I figure my insanity just got enough experience to go up a level when I wasn't paying attention. So I head back to bed. I crawl back in and just start getting comfy again when I hear the noise a second time. I have enough time to think to myself, wait. I think that's the box spring. Oh, foot crack! Before I have half a clue of what's actually going on, my bed has done a credible imitation of a Venus flytrap. My 3 dogs are freaking out and clawing their way out of our mattress sandwich before running around the room like this is the most wonderful thing that's ever happened in Earth's history. In the meantime, I'm trying to figure out which part of me is where so I can begin the process of extricating myself from my once beloved but now abusive and overly possessive grabby bed. Once I've gotten both feet back on the ground and I have done a quick inventory of body parts to make sure I didn't leave any behind, I survey the inanimate damage. My box spring had cracked in half, almost dead center between the head and the foot of the mattress, and had fallen through the frame and down to the floor. The wood splinters have shredded one side of my feather comforter, so now there's feathers flying all over the place. The frame is intact with a couple minor scratches, and I figure the mattress will survive as well. Looking over at my alarm clock, I notice it's 3 a.m. I figure there's no time like the present, so I start to pull the bed apart, put it together-ish. That goes without mishap, unless you include my overly excited dogs discovering they absolutely love playing in feathers. I discover the comforter is a lost cause as well. I get back inside and kind of put a bit of a nest together on my mattress, which is now on the floor, and try to get a couple more hours in before work. Have you ever had one of those pains in your neck where you're fine unless you turn a certain way or move too quickly? And if you do, it's like someone took a taser to the side of your face. So when my alarm goes off and I reach over to slap it, I realize I've got one of those. I'm super lucky, though. This one doesn't feel the need to be restricted to my neck at all. Oh, no. This one seems to go down nearly my entire back. So I get out of bed slowly and carefully and go to the kitchen to start coffee. You know those old Looney Tunes sequences where a character will be moving okay and then suddenly freeze in a certain position with a facial expression reminiscent of what you'd see on someone having a stroke? They then continue to move until it spasms up again and just do that on repeat. So that's me today. But at least nothing's broken, so I just deal with it. I'm out of creamer and cigarettes, so I decide to head over to the gas station a block from my house. I bundle up carefully and walk outside and lock the door. As I walk under the ledge of my patio overhang, an entire collection of icicles falls off the edge and lands on my head, neck, shoulders area. I, of course, end up sprawled on the ground trying to figure out what planet I'm on, spasming and twitching every time I move the wrong way. I think at one point I was fairly certain I might be dying, but then I got over that. So I get up, walk to the gas station, and pick up my creamer and cigs. The lady working at the counter keeps looking at me, horrified. Eventually I say, what's wrong? She very likely thinks I'm insane, which really isn't too far off, and says, you do realize you have blood all over your face, right? I sigh to myself and say, yeah. After a description of the icicles, she seems sympathetic as opposed to on the verge of calling someone on a suspected murder charge, grabs some gauze out of her first aid kit for me, and sends me on my merry. So I get home and I'm fumbling with my keys to the door. The next thing I know, my neighbor is shaking me awake, asking if I'm okay. I'm covered in blood and half the contents of the bottle of creamer I just purchased. It takes me a minute, but I figure I must have passed out or something. He gets me inside and I clean myself up, saying, thank you. Once we're clear, I'll be all right now that I'm away from falling objects. Oh, sorry. Once we're clear, I'll be all right now that I'm away from falling objects. He takes off, and I continue my day. The moral of the story? Never go to bed early. You might upset the order of the universe. Wow, Troa. That was intense. Thanks. On that note, I think it's about time for me to call a stream. I was just about to unlock ether fishing tonight, and then you guys were so amazing. It didn't happen. I think we probably made 3 quest steps happen this evening. But I wouldn't have changed tonight for the world. Just give Lady Nico a little face pat, it looks like. I think I was trying to hug, but, you know, the ankle was weird. Yeah, that was a trip. You've been in this room for hours now. Yeah, well, I mean, hey, we're really getting to know this room. And what's crazy is I've spent a lot of time in this room before too, because I've been a fisher for 80 levels, and you do keep coming back to this particular trainer over and over again. I didn't see you do any quests at all. I did, I swear. I just think you missed them. All right. We are going to say a lovely good night to all of those watching on YouTube, Kick, Instagram. If you don't watch on those channels, I still love you anyway. But I highly recommend, if you're going to miss a live stream, or even if you're watching on a live stream, especially if you're watching on a oh hey, Ren is here. What was I saying? Oh yeah, if you're gonna miss a stream, or you're watching on laptop and you've got an extra browser tab to devote to it, YouTube, please go send extra watch hours to my YouTube channel. I've got everything from previous VODs saved there for perpetuity. So when they get deleted from Twitch, deleted from Kick, they still exist in YouTube in my playlists tab. You can watch them there. And if you're not even interested in watching, you just want to devote watch hours, that's the easiest and best and fastest way to do so. We are halfway to our goal. We're more than halfway through the year. So, but it does look like watch hour engagement is ramping up, which means I believe we could easily hit partnership before 2024 is over. Number one way to make sure that we get there faster is recommend me to somebody else. If you have a friend who's you know, an egghead like us, or just wants to reprogram themselves or challenge the status quo, have some insightful conversation on a stream night, send them my way. Let's get this community growing. Talk about Fight Club, if you know what I mean. I should get you added on 14 at some point. Absolutely. My 99% of the time I'm on character is on Behemoth, so you can scope me out there. Uppies, I don't know how to do that. I have no idea. I didn't even think that was possible, if it is a thing, or if you're just trolling me. There's no way. Oh, okay. You made me feel sad because I'm used to this position with the little and the tiny, especially the tiny. She does that same thing. She just puts her arms up, and then I say, use her polite words, or I'll tell her. Actually, of course, I speak to them in Mandarin, so I say, "Qing koti de wenwo, Qing, please politely ask me." And then she'll say, "Ting bao wo, please hold me, or please pick me up." And then I can sit, so then we're at least on the same level as each other. Now my foot's like resting on your shoulder though, which is kind of weird. Yeah. So I have a visceral reaction to seeing a little come at my knees and put their arms up like that, in other words. Can't travel to Primal right now, so it needs to be down the road. Oh, okay. Yeah, it happens with Primal. There's supposedly talk of it. Oh my gosh. If there is, then I would come on my potato more often, because I'd love to be picked up by other people. That would be sweet. Nico, your Lala is adorable. I agree. You did a good job with the character creation. Quiz check. Hi. DC travel is down for the most part. Bummer. Okay. Is it just because of the new expansion? It's just going to be like cloggy until people simmer down. I have no more littles. My youngest just started her first job today. Aww. I know that that day is going to creep up on me, so we take as much picture and video as we possibly can. I know none of you have seen it. We're pretty careful about, you know, consent and doxing littles and that sort of thing. So that's why I won't even say their names on stream. But yeah, they're cuties, and we get a lot of footage of them. All right. Instagram, YouTube, Kick. I love your faces. I will catch you all again tomorrow. We're going to be streaming the Riven remake. We're now going to be 3 streams deep as of tomorrow. So if you want to catch up before tomorrow, go to YouTube, watch the previous VODs there, and I will catch you then. And if you're safe, fed, and loved, make sure someone out there is too, please. Twitch, hang on. We're going to go find somebody to raid. But for everybody else, good night until tomorrow. See ya.